coming from a galaxy near you. This is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
I don't even know what to say to that, Doug.
Fucking Yankee fans. That's what you say to that.
Okay. That'll work. How you doing? Welcome to Brothers in Booze.
Yeah, welcome to Brother Booze, everybody. I'm doing well. How about yourself, sir?
It's been a rough week. You can see by the patch. It's been one of those weeks. But I made it through, I think, or we'll see. We can talk about this later. But what I want to talk about now is how one of my favorites, Working Draft Beer Company, I visited them this week and saw show. We've had Carrie on here before. I saw him. That was fun. But I like, Doug, how they sell singles now.
Oh, nice.
So I just went in and said, give me one of everything, Carrie. So it was great. It was great. I mean, it's easy, really easy. So we're going to start with the New Zealand style Pilsner.
Ooh, nice.
Called Foresight. Get Foresight, I guess, or there's some kind of this Foresight is going all over my desk here. But so that's good. Yeah. So it looks the part in a dirty glass.
Dirty glass gang.
Yeah, it's coming up. Dirty Glass Day is coming up April 23rd or something like that. So that'll be that we should celebrate by going on stream with our dirty glasses and celebrating. Nice head on this one though, and it definitely looks the part as far as the Pilsner goes.
Yeah, it definitely looks right.
Pilsner is one where I think it's getting a revive in craft beer. I think people are going back to that. As we were talking about a little bit on our Twitter spaces yesterday, a bunch of people, we talked about how the pandemic has changed your beer habits and beer buying habits. So we should talk to John about that too. But we were talking about how people are going back to classic styles. The breweries are going back and people are going back. And it kind of feels like we're kind of inching away, Doug, from these crazy pastry stouts and the milkshakes and the slushies. And I'm not sure, but we have a beer rep here, so he can tell us what he sees in the trend. So that's going to be fun. But what is your initial thought before we get to your beer about where people at as far as, or where are you at personally about going back to these classic styles? Because you're a big ass beer drinker and you won't shy away from those pastry stouts. So where you at, Doug?
I think you're right that there's a pretty big, not big maybe, but a very clear trend for people going back to your basic, normal, traditional styles. Like look at something like Chris Strasner was just talking about on Twitter this week about a Dovetail Brewery, which does great business, and they do all classic styles. They don't do a lot of fancy stuff. They just make their lagers, they make their pilsners, they make Helles, they make all the really classic styles, and they do very well. So I think you're seeing a lot of people who, the fancy stuff with all the adjuncts and all that stuff is cool and it's interesting, but your classic styles are what will bring you home. So
I hope you're right. What's in your glass today?
So I am starting with a macro beer, so I apologize. But left-hand stouts, key lime pie nitro sour. I love key lime pie. It's not going to show up well on my camera because of the lighting. But this is a sour ale with lactose, lime, vanilla, and cinnamon, which seems weird for cinnamon and a key lime.
Oh, our New York native feels defeated by that video. Daniel, what's wrong? I don't see the problem there.
No, neither. Look at that pour. That was a hefty pour. Well, nitro style, so yeah, you expect that, I guess. Look at it settling, though. You can see the line, like just settling out. So
yeah.
Definitely got sour on the nose. Don't smell much lime or any of the other flavors they're talking about. So that's just fucking gross. This does not taste like key lime pie. Tastes more like vanilla and cinnamon. I get a little bit of lime on the end. So key lime pie, no. Apple pie with cinnamon and lime, yes, but not bad. But the taste goes away fairly fast. So not a remarkable beer, decent, but yeah. Cheers.
Okay.
Is there a story there?
was it? Definitely Miller Lite, Troll. Yeah. Baseball's back. Come on, y'all. Y'all supposed to be happy or something. Or was that?
That'd probably taste better out of a shoe than out of the bottle. But
yeah. Wait, I just tried to say about dirty glasses.
Well, I was planning on dirty asses later, but that's Brothers and Booze After Dark. Just kidding. That's coming soon to Patreon.
The after show, right. So yeah, in case y'all wondering, we can get this out of the way. I had some bump that it was a bump, and it's been there for a couple of weeks, Doug, actually, and then it really escalated to getting infected. So I ended up having to go to the clinic this week, and basically, well, it looks like it's falling off now, but basically, I felt like I was in that awful, terrible, brutal show, The Pimple Popper. I was getting it was horrible, but I'm serious, Doug, not a joke. It was, I've been in the hospital for potential heart attack or a heart attack. You've been through that grinder too. Besides the fact that you get chest pains, and that's mentally, as we've talked about a couple times here, it's probably more of a mental fuck than it is a physical, if that makes sense. Like my it hurts, but mentally it's more like, oh my God, like, is this the end? So that is really, this pimple popper thing though was vastly more painful. Dealing with, and he numbed it up and everything, but these needles, man, that shit was like, like what I thought. I didn't really see any of that. All I know is that, like, when you going for your vaccinations or any of that, or you get a needle, like how that felt yesterday was how I usually think needles work. You know what I mean? But they don't. It's never that bad. It's just like a little prick. You know what I mean? Especially, and we have to give blood too for our blood test. So you've been through that, recently, I'm sure. And that's right. And it's not. I wouldn't say it's painful. It's uncomfortable. But yesterday was fucking painful. So I've had me a week. Then I went back today, and they were scraping all in there and all that. It's just a damn mess. So I'm hoping that by next week this will be good. But it's been a week, man. It's been a week, and I usually I stop drinking during the week, but this week I've been drinking.
I think you're allowed, my man. I think you're allowed.
We'll see. What are you gonna say?
Hey, man, it's been a week, and I think both of us had to learn kind of a little bit about the idea of managing things. But not every day is going to be perfect. Some days you just need it, and that's okay.
Yep, and this is going to come off during the stream. I'm going to have to do something.
Just get some duct tape. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and some people would think it would be best if I just duct tape my mouth shut.
No. No.
It happens, Doug. It happens. Anyway, Doug, we're going to bring it on. What's worse, Doug, a shoe drinker or Doug drinking macro?
Shoe drinker.
Okay, cool. Joel's correct though. My Lord, tastes like it's from a shoe. The after show. Jerry, are you supporting an after show, or you just laughing about it? Yes, Doug gets crazy during some of these after shows. We haven't had one recently. because we've been really good about our beer drinking consumption.
No, that's not true. Last week we were on for a while after the show with Renee, but that was a lot. It wasn't a wild after show. It's just we were on for a while. So okay.
Right. It wasn't one of those where we're tossing back all kinds of crazy shit. But anyway, Doug, might as well get to our fantastic guest that we have tonight. This is the first time he has appeared. Actually, it's the first time we met him. I met him on Twitter. He's a fun follow on Twitter, so we'll get to that at some point too. But without further ado, I know Doug has been waiting for this conversation since he's been booked. We're going to bring on our new friend of the stream, John Miller, Weyerbacher rep, black beer drinker, consumable of all sports, or it seems like he does if you follow his timeline. Got an opinion on all kinds of things, so we are happy to have you. Thanks, John, for joining us.
Yeah, much to the detriment of my followers. I have an opinion.
I personally like it, but so John, tell us, because we're still learning, and everybody, who you are, how you got into craft beer, and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's John Miller. My foray into craft beer started about maybe 7-8 years ago when Pivowitz, who runs the New Jersey Craft Beer.
I'm sorry, John. I have to interrupt you. I know it's rude, but we have to get what's in your glass first.
Oh, no doubt. So what's in my glass is actually the collaboration beer we just released about a month ago. I won't say the name so we don't get any C&D. I don't know if you can see that, but it's that Life, like high Life. Obviously it's a premium filter clone. It was brewed with New Jersey Craft Beer guys. You might have seen on my timeline. I was at the brew house, a couple months ago. South Jersey beer scene as well. It is a premium pilsner.
Okay.
That's what's in my glass. So something that I was involved in is in my glass. So cheers to
that. Oh yeah, excellent. So back to where you found craft beer, how you got into it, and I'll shut up now. I'll even mute my damn mic.
Yeah, it was about 7 or 8 years ago, and I just saw. I believe it might have been on Twitter. I can't even really remember if it was Twitter or another social media outlet, but they were just looking for people to kind of help, grow the website membership, so on and so forth. And at the time, I was like just starting to get into it. I think, I just like dabbled, but in the way dabbling, like when my buddies were drinking like Miller Lights and Bud Lights and stuff like that, the clubs, like I was like, give me the Newcastle Brown Ale, like that was the kind of stuff that kind of got me into it. And then it just kind of like snowballed from there. At the time, I think we only had about maybe 25 business partners in the state of New Jersey in the membership club, and we're up to like 650 now. Our membership is over 4,700 members throughout the state. So that kind of got me into it, and then it opened up some other opportunities for me working Beer Fest and so on and so forth. And then I got on Weyerbacher maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. The rep that's currently, or the rep that left Weyerbacher taught me kind of everything that I've known. I know right now about craft beer and just like how to work the festivals and so on and so forth, and events and sales and good stuff like that. So that's what really got me into it. And then just now, I think where I'm in now is I'm just more or less like, really trying to do what I can to like introduce people to the scene in South Jersey. Also, with the things I do with Weyerbacher, like it's a lot of the events that we have down in this area, some of the larger events they might have up North Jersey. AC Beer Fest is one of the big events that we do, quite often. So really it's grown a lot for me. And now in the last couple of years, like I think that my focus has just really been, trying to do what I can to make it a little bit more inclusive for people of color, as far as the beer scene is concerned. That's pretty important to me. I've talked a lot with a couple of local breweries in Philly. Mac Brewing is one of them. Like I've always had a little bit of a relationship with him and just kind of DMing him and like, hey, you should go to this beer fest. You should get in here. Do all these things and like get to this fest. I think these are the best ones. Anything that's big and going on in New Jersey, I said, if you can get across the bridge, go to these fests. I am aware of Barrel and Flow.
That's private chat thing there, folks. Sorry.
Yeah. Barrel and Flow, I think is kind of cool just to kind of see how that all starts to come together. And I'd like to see more of that. I think the time is right for that to kind of happen. I mean, you see this kind of movement or attention, I should say, with everything else in the world. So why not beer, right? So that's kind of like my story with beer. I don't homebrew. That's not anything I've been into. But to talk about what you guys were talking about in the spaces yesterday, my habits and like the things I've used to drink have changed dramatically over this journey. I used to have tons of IPAs and so on and so forth, the big boozy pastry stouts and all that kind of stuff. Like I used to do all that, but the pandemic may have dialed that back for me a little bit. But also, having a daughter has kind of dialed that back for me as well. Like this beer is, it's lower ABV, and that's kind of my speed now because no matter what I'm going to drink, she's going to be up at like 6 a.m. on a Saturday, right? So it's like, do I want a 13% stout hangover, or do I want to just be yeah, right. So it's just like it's a business decision now. So that's how things have changed for me. And majority of the bigger beers I have are just kind of in our cellar, so to speak, and we usually just take them. My wife and I take them to bottle shares and stuff like that because that's kind of the best way to kind of consume them at this point. Yeah.
Amen. Is the wife a beer drinker?
Yeah, she actually started the Girls Pint Out chapter in New Jersey. Her and a friend of ours a couple of years ago. She's not in the scene as much anymore. Obviously becoming a mother, like your priorities change a little bit. So she's more or less on the fringe, but she did a lot with that. She started that chapter. She had a beer on that she collaborated with a brewery in South Jersey and was on an AC Beer Fest, and it got like rave reviews. So she's pretty accomplished herself as far as that's concerned.
Sweet. So let's stay on Weyerbacher for a second before we move on to New Jersey craft beer. So first of all, Doug, the irony of the Weyerbacher rep on here talking about lower ABV beers. I love that.
Yeah, right.
but I went to y'all didn't get to see our pre-production conversation, but Doug was talking about, and I think I'll let him talk about Weyerbacher and his thoughts on it. But my thoughts about Weyerbacher are, and then I'll follow that with a question. I was there pre-pandemic, right before the pandemic rolled in. I had a fantastic time there. I don't want to steal any Doug's thunder, but I really enjoyed the atmosphere that your brewery brings. I'm not sure if y'all switched that around within the 2 years that I've been there, but you used to walk in and you're basically in the warehouse, and there's like a circular bar there. Circular meaning it's like more like rectangle. So like everybody, the bar's like in the middle and everybody like sits around it. And then over to the right there was y'all's merch section.
Yep.
Your store, and you could buy beer, you could buy all kinds of merch and stuff like that. What I really loved about it though is I rolled in there in the afternoon, and early afternoon, y'all had opened or something. And I was there like a little bit after. I went to what is that, Twin River? Wait, is it Twin Rivers? Which is another Three Rivers? Is that what it is?
Three Rivers, two. Yeah.
I fucking
Three Rivers is Pittsburgh, by the way. So yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. They went to the brew pub that was in Easton, right? It was like more downtown.
Yeah, is it still there?
So the last time I was there was years ago.
Right.
I'm not sure if it's still there actually.
I'm afraid that may have been. I don't know if it was a pandemic casualty, I would understand because it was just. I don't know. I really love that place, but we're not talking about the place. We're talking about Weyerbacher. But I rode in the Weyerbacher, and unfortunately, I was driving, so that really limited my experience there because I could only grab and drink so only a little bit so that I could get out of there. But long story short, y'all actually had a couple of low ABV beers on there. But what I really enjoyed was that your brewers got off of their job or they got off of working and they basically just walked right up to the place, sat down, and just started talking about Game of Thrones. I remember this vividly, Doug. And this was like at the end of Game of Thrones. This was like those final episodes. And like that's when, like, in my opinion, I never watched the show, John, but in my opinion, that's when that show was at its like peak of pop culture. Like everybody was talking about it. And even if you didn't watch it, you were like, sucked up in it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, the Will Smith Oscar thing, like where like if you didn't watch the Oscars, you still have an opinion on whether Will Smith should have slapped them and all that. I mean, you know what I mean? So that's how Game of Thrones was. So these guys just they came out and there was a female brewer. I'm not sure if she's still there or not. There was a female brewer there, and she was just the most personable, nice person ever. And she just told a story about being a female in this industry. And obviously I'm Black, and we were just talking about diversity. And she was just a really, really, I forget her name, but she was just, I don't know. I just felt that she was just an amazing person. Your other brewers were cool too. Yeah. I had a really good time. It felt like a homey place. It really felt like, I mean, besides the fact you're in this big warehouse, it felt like, like a dive bar-ish type of neighborhood situation. So I really got many good vibes from that place. It was fantastic. How is that a good, I know you're the rep, but is that a good representation of Weyerbacher as a whole? Like, sometimes the experience isn't necessarily, sometimes you go into places and the experience isn't necessarily what they, what the brewer wants to project. Yeah, that's what I got out of Weyerbacher.
That's accurate, and she is not there anymore. She left about a year ago, unfortunately. But we did have a woman brewer in the place. I also say that they made a lot of strides to like expand their footprint, like on the outside. That's also was somewhat pandemic influence, but even prior to that, they started to expand a little bit. So they opened up a lot more outdoor seating, and so on and so forth. So that was that was a big thing for them, mainly because like when you pull into that parking lot, like it was a little tight, but then you open it up now and you have you can park 2 trucks and then you have more space. But it's funny you say like you're driving, like that's I try to get to the brewery when I can. It's not often, it definitely hasn't been as much during the pandemic, but you're right, like it's a ride for me. But most of the time I usually get the stuff from distributors and stuff like that to do what I need to do for meds and whatnot. But it's funny that you mentioned you were driving because even a flight, what they have on is pretty dicey, right?
Right.
So it's like, what
right.
are you going to do, right? It's like,
so I was there for a couple hours. Literally, I was.
yeah, and that's probably the best way to do it. It's like you get a couple of beers and just like let time
chill. Right, and relax. And I had time to sit there and talk to him for hours, so it was great.
Yeah. So, and I think with Easton, just like the community around are like, I don't know if you noticed, but like, they had the barrel tables and they had like the carved wood with the jester, the flat top on some of the tables. So that was actually one of our recurring customers who was like a woodworker, and he actually made those tables like for the brewery. So it's just like that just gives you like an insight to like how much the brewery means to the community.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's that's kind of where we are. I will say, I know Doug, I know if you have a question or something you want to get to, but I do want to say that our core beers are still there. It's still the Merry Monks, it's still the Quad, it's still the Blithering Idiot, it's still the Tiny, so nothing, low ABV as far as that's concerned. Everything over like 9% is a core offering. So just kind of getting back to like, what, our roots and so on and so forth. The seasonals are kind of what drives a lot of traffic. Sunday morning stout and Insanity, like we might be able to find some of that here in Jersey. Sunday morning stouts, one of those beers that kind of gained a lot of acclaim when they first released it. Like people were comparing it to some other stouts and were saying like this was better than the other stout from that brewery in Michigan, whose names I won't mention. But that's kind of been like what's kind of helped us. The pumpkin beer, we do that in the fall still, for those who like the pumpkin beers. But the thing is now is, like I said, just really trying to like contract and just kind of make sure that we're getting back to our roots and kind of reestablishing ourselves. I think the barrel program is going to wind down just a little bit, not fully. But it's kind of hard to source barrels and stuff like that at this point, right? And it's expensive. So like I said, if anyone can get down to the tap room, 24 beers on tap. So, you have your seasonals, you have your cores, and you have some, variants of the cores that are on there. We also have a beer that we did, it's basically like the pilot system is what we use for the tap room. So it's just our main production brewery, and there's a pilot system, and that was what goes on tap. So that kind of gives you that incentive to go and get beers at the brewery because you're not really going to get them anywhere else, So we did a lot of unique stuff there. One of the recent beers that we did was brewed with I don't know if you heard of it, but shag bark, hickory bark. Have you ever heard of that? I think you've heard it, right? Dancing Gnome did a beer with that. I think it was called shag bark hickory. So shag bark hickory, Native Americans used to boil it to make sugar, syrup, stuff like that. So that's where you're gonna get some of the sweetness that's going to be in the beers that's in. So that's one of the new things that we have to offer, and we're just kind of like playing around with stuff like that, just to kind of, when you have like 4 cores and you have a pilot system that you can just kind of get crazy and like experiment with. Like it's always just like a new experience when you come into the tap room, and that's the benefit of it. I've been to tons of tap rooms where, and I'm sure you guys have as well, where you go to the tap room, it's the same stuff that they have in cans that's on draft, and you go 2 weeks later and it's still the same stuff, and you're like, okay, you have this big brewery, like when are you going to give me something different? That kind of feeds into like the attention span sometimes of the craft beer drinker. We always want something new and exciting, right? Guilty as charged with that, right? But yeah, so I think in that aspect, like we've really done a good job to draw some of that traffic to the brewery and make it a unique experience for everyone that's coming in.
Yeah, to that end, the pilot program stuff, I love that the tap room has different stuff. Like I was talking to you before the show, just like when my wife and I went there, they had like just stuff that like were okay. Well, I know this beer, but then they put this different spin on it and all these different kind of things. They had every day. I think mostly every day they have a firkin of some experimental shit they made, and it's like, okay, well, and then you'll never see it again. It's just them trying to figure something else out, and maybe it does well, and then they do put it into production. But for the most part, you're going to get a lot of one-offs that are really fucking good. They just, they don't do well enough to go out in production, or maybe the materials are too hard to get, or like they just had some left over. I mean, who knows? But it is a great experience to go there. I agree with Greg. It's weird. It's like it's chaotic and dive bar all at the same time, because you're like, when I was there, it was like, and we were there like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a long time since we've been there, and it was like little forklifts driving around while you're in the bar. It's just, like I said, it's a little chaotic, but it doesn't feel like you're not where you should be, But the bar is really cozy, and I was talking to the bartender. I didn't get the chance to talk to any of the brewers, but it was a cool experience. And like, we still had to drive down to Philly yet, so we couldn't we got a flight, and it was like, all right, we're going to split the flight, because like, here, you try this and I'll try it. And because that stuff is high gravity. So yeah, highly recommend going there if you can, folks.
Yeah. The other thing is that we're just kind of, and I don't know, I mean, you're a fan, Doug, and I know that, and I know, well, actually both of you guys are like huge fans. I mean,
we're fans.
Right. So we're also like in the next couple of months, you just be on the lookout. We're going to start playing around with some of the retro beers I'm trying to bring some of them back in like small batches. The rumor, and I would say you didn't hear from me, but you did hear from me that I think Double Simcoe might make an appearance in the next couple of months.
That's up Craig's alley.
Yeah. When Double Simcoe IPA went away, I got so much heat for it, and people were asking like, why'd you take that beer away? That was one of my favorites, because it was a really good IPA. It was an IPA that was true to what I think the style is before lactose and all that kind of stuff got involved. And say what you want to say. Like I can deal with lactose to a certain degree. But you know what I'm saying? Like it was just a really well done IPA. I'd also like to see Last Chance come back just because the Last Chance Foundation was really great. That was where we donated portions of the proceeds to local animal shelters where we had the beer on, and at one point we did a can series that had photos of adopted pets on it, so that was kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to them bringing that back as well, because that was just was really a nice thing for them to do, especially for the animals and so on and so forth.
Cool. Doug, do you have any other follow-ups about Weyerbacher before we move on?
Other than it's just because I love high gravity beers. Like they're one of my favorites. They're one of those kind of breweries that just, even when they make offshoot stuff, their offshoot stuff is good. And I can't think of a beer I've had from them that I didn't really like. Now, I haven't had every beer they've had, of course, but like Merry Monk's is a freaking solid beer, even as it being like kind of their flagship. It's a really fucking good beer. And it's the Even More Merry Monks. Is that what it is? Or More Merry Monks? That one's excellent. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong. If you can find their stuff, just pick it up. You'll be happy with it. Tiny is an underrated one too.
Yeah, Tiny was a base beer for the Sunday morning stout, so that's why that's like that's just that's a really well done stout. I think that one just transcends like time, in my opinion.
I don't remember the quad, Doug. I definitely remember the triple. The quad, I'm pretty sure.
If you had quad, you remember it. You would remember if you had quad.
Yeah, there's a handful of quads that are kind of in that sort of pantheon. As if I can find it, I get it, and their quad is one of them. It's Three Philosophers from Omegang, and I'm forgetting the other. Castile makes a chocolate quad. That's the best quad I've ever had, but that thing is ridiculous. Yeah. You would be out if you downed a bottle of that.
So here's a funny story. Just talking about like insanity. Now that's come up. I remember I was doing an event. I think it was in. It might have been in Brick, New Jersey. I can't even remember what town it was, but it was at a. It wasn't Brick, but it was a yacht club, right? So it was like this, what I thought was going to be like this, highfalutin event or whatever. And there was, other. Beer reps and stuff like there. And it was essentially like just a yacht club party that was hosted by one of the local liquor stores. And they just kind of, brought in all their craft brands. And I don't think they did cocktails at this place, but we were pouring bottles, which, sometimes can be a pain, but we had Merry Monks, and we had Insanity, for this particular event. And, when I tell you that, rich people like to get fucked up off of beer, like they were dudes were just coming back with the Insanity, just slamming it. And they were like, this is the best thing ever. And at that point, I was like, they probably don't even realize what they're tasting at this point, because they have to be bombed off their ass. But, it was just crazy. Like how much Insanity we went through that night, and I can drink Insanity, but not to that level. Like 1.5, and I'm good now. But these guys were just they were having a blast. I will say that
it was Insanity, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was like, man, I didn't expect it. I figured they might go for something like lower ABV. Yeah, that may be too boozy. Now the Insanity was flowing that night. Yeah, I think we went through at least 10, 15 cases, I think, in a 3-hour span. So we did pretty good.
Daniel liked the double Simcoe too. It's funny because I don't think I've ever had it, and I also would never think of IPAs when I think of Weyerbacher. But that's just me. I
Yeah,
just
but
don't think of IPAs. I'm
you
sure
saw
they're
their
great, but
you
like,
saw their list. Their list has a lot of lower ABV stuff like that list. They
oh yeah,
had like several IPAs. So
but I
yeah,
just don't think of them even remotely as like an IPA. I mean, because they're not an IPA house, clearly, but IPAs and Weyerbacher does not sync for me in my brain. It doesn't. It's just never going to, Doug. It's just
So
not.
here's a question for you guys, because I had this question with had this question come up and just had a conversation with a buddy of mine, just about beer in general and like identity, right? For a brewery.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better that breweries have a wide spectrum of styles, or do you think that breweries should have certain identities to where they lock in on a handful of styles? And the case in point is, during March Madness, it was like the opening weekend, and it was maybe a Friday, I think. But buddy and I, we went to Other Half in Philly, and he's a big, hothead IPA guy. Like that's his thing. And he knows, like, I struggle with it a little bit. So I'm in there and I'm just like, all right, where's the Pilsner? Where's the Lager? I want something with ABV. And then, they have tons of like IPAs, and I mean, they're all, hazy and so on and so forth. So I guess my question is, like, do you think that you can be too niche, as a brewery, or do you think that that's good because you're going to go to a certain brewery to get what you want, or do you prefer going in and having, like, a little bit of everything on tap?
So a jack of all trades or a master of trade. Doug, what do you say? What do you think?
I think you could do a bit of both. If I'm going to be honest, if you could have a couple beers that are your fucking sellers, and you can knock them out of the park every single time because you got the pattern down, great. But I think it serves you best if you can have that, and that's what brings people in. But you have a variety of shit to give them once they get there, so they can try other stuff. I don't like. I think when you have good flagship beers, that brings people in. But where you actually grow is where you have a multitude of things to try. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit of a cop out, but sorry.
I'm gonna go more with the niche. I think you can be. I think if I owned a brewery, I would want them to have a niche, but also, like Doug says, have an availability of at least a couple different styles. Just to show your chops too. I think a characteristic that a lot of breweries have is that they don't really want to be pigeonholed, even if they have a niche. So, like, I think that's kind of like Weyerbacher, Weyerbacher's niche, period, for me, is the high ABV. And that's not a style, restriction. That's just a high ABV. We have Giant Jones here in Madison, and they just do high ABV beers. They're they're literally four women literally run that brewery. At the bare minimum, 2 women can run that brewery. So they're not as big scale as Weyerbacher, but at the same time, they do their niche. But there's no doubt that Jessica Jones, who is the brewer, can brew any kind of beer you want. But really, when you go in there, it's only high ABV. Now, that's a smallish one. But so Weyerbacher, the double Simcoe, in my opinion, shows that, they can brew whatever they want, and it can be good. But the niche of Weyerbacher going in there, knowing that the quad's going to be on, knowing that the triple's going to be on, knowing I can get a big stout, I kind of like that aspect of it. But I also like the aspect of, if I'm with Doug and Doug's not, Doug's driving, so Doug can get a pills, and then we could take a big bomber back to the hotel room and then smash it there. But you know what I'm saying? So I'm with you, but I'm going to lean more towards the niche aspect of your question. And then I got one more important Weyerbacher question before we go on. Can you tell us, or tell us as much as you can without A, getting in trouble, and B, giving away company secrets, what really happened with y'all? Went through an ownership change
Yes.
type. I, for lack of a better word, Jada Pinkett Smith entanglement. It seemed like at some point it was complicated. And are y'all still independent? Where's I'm not close. I was confused about what the hell was going on. And I remember Doug and I remembered this, and we were like kind of like almost like, I wouldn't say we're shaking a little bit, like what's going on, or going out of business. What's going on? So what can you tell us about all that?
We got a lot of questions about that. So, just, and this is like, some of it's just public record. So there were some financial issues, and that's when ownership and stuff like that had to change. There were, obviously loans and things like that taken out of, and then there was like bankruptcy protection and stuff like that was done. But they came out of bankruptcy protection about a year change ago, and the previous owners are back, and really just trying to get the brewery back to where it was, and that's kind of where we are right now. So that's why you see a little bit of contraction, and I guess what it is, it's like business, right? Like you take risks, you try to do different things, you end up spreading yourself too thin, and then that's when costs and things like that kind of get out of hand, especially with the way the craft beer market is now. I see that a little bit in Jersey, just the similar things happening to other breweries from an ownership standpoint. It always gets messy when there's multiple owners, in a brewery, because it's like opinions, right? You know what they're like,
opinions, different ideas or different visions of what the brewery should be. You almost need like one or two so that you could roll with that.
Right. And a lot of times what happens is like you get investors who have opinions, but they don't know the first thing about beer, and then they try to influence, and it's like, it's always the same thing. It's like, hire people smarter than you to run the business, right? And the things that they're good at. And you see that happening a lot sometimes. And then what you also see is like, I think that it was like the perfect storm for Weyerbacher to be spreading itself thin, and all these other breweries were popping up, right? And then more beers that would traditionally not be available on the East Coast start to come into the East Coast. So it's like it really just became just like this shelf space competition. And like we alluded to earlier, the attention span of craft beer drinkers isn't very high, right? Like, so the bright shiny new thing is kind of what we run to, and then all of the things get left. That's why people say, hey, let's do flagship Friday or whatever, let's get back to these beers that no one cares about anymore. Like that's why it exists, right? Because people just forget about that stuff, because it's not new, it's not shiny, it's not the hype release that you want to stand in line for, which I don't do that anymore. I'm too old for that shit. Stand in line for a beer.
Me either. Fuck that.
Yeah. I don't do it anymore. Like, that's just, I'm over that. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what happened, and I think, and I think that for a lot of breweries, like they have to be mindful of that. I wasn't going to drink out of my Modern Times glass, RIP to them. Because I feel like that's, I don't know if it's like from an investor standpoint, like that's what happened, but I do know that they were going through like all this expansion, and then out of the blue, it's like where they're selling, I'm like, wait, they just opened up these other places, like
right,
what's going on?
Right.
So it's like your market share starts to shrink. You have like the Zoomers, millennials, whatever you want to call them, like they're getting into this market now, and to be honest with you, I think they want to be more health conscious, so they want lower ABV, they want non-alcoholic, they want to know the calorie content on the beer, right? You're still going to have people that will chase the big IPAs and all that other kind of stuff, but I just feel like that population is shrinking, in my opinion.
Yep. So what I'm hearing is y'all on better footing than you were back then, is what I'm hearing. And we don't have to worry about Weyerbacher Brewing going anywhere.
No.
Excellent.
Yeah, that was a when I heard about all this stuff, and I was like, man, I really hope they figure that out, because I really love their beers. And
yeah, right. Like,
yeah, y'all had us freaking out over here for a little bit.
Those of us not in the know, so yeah.
Right.
But now, Doug, we got a direct line, so we can, if anything else pops up, we're going to be in your inbox again, John. So it's all good.
I cracked a second beer, by the way. So
Yeah, what do you got?
This is I will say if you're in Jersey or you know someone in Jersey, you can get some of this beer. I've you know put some beers from this brewery out in the hands of some of my friends and so on and so forth. This is Monotone Citra from Tonewood.
Honey from Tonewood Brewing. Okay, man, that can art is awesome.
Yeah, they do a lot of good stuff there. Their brewery, their new brewery is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
They just opened a new brewery in Barrington, New Jersey, and they have like the head brewer like has like roots, in Denver, brewing out there in the Colorado beer scene. So he's bringing that to the East Coast, and it's been great. So it's an IPA, 6.5%. Citra. They do other single hop IPAs. They do a Mosaic as well, and I think they do Mosaic, Citra, and I think there's one more that they do, but the name escapes me. But it's a damn fine beer. That's what's in my glass right now for the second one.
Mm-hmm. That looks lovely, by the way, John. I really.
And also, let me just say that when you guys were doing the pre-show, like I was like nervous at first because I was like, I know I can be a little irreverent at times, and when you guys dropped like the F-bomb, I was like, all right, cool, everything like.
Yeah, I made
my type of show.
Yeah, I maybe do that too much. So, but whatever.
Well, I mean, talking beer, we have to get into like pop culture.
Getting nitty gritty.
Why do you give a fuck, Doug?
I don't fucking give a fuck, motherfucker. How about that?
Well, I'm glad you know because people think that you're pink or undercooked.
Yeah, I said medium rare. Thank you very much.
He's like Paula Patton's chicken, right?
right. So,
Greg, you popping open a second one? What you got?
You heard that, but you're supposed to go before me, so I'm not going to step.
I don't give a shit. I haven't opened mine yet. You go.
It's close enough to perfect, y'all.
Ooh.
You see what they did with the tea there?
Working draft.
Yes.
Working draft. Yeah, like I said in pre-production, or was it to start, John? I really love when breweries offer singles. I'm not really that, I love when they went from 6-pack to 4-pack. Love that. But now I love 4-pack to singles because as you said, I am that guy who I just need to try everything in your damn brewery. And that's just an easy way for me to do it.
Your brewery offers single cans?
Yeah, Working Draft Brewing Company. I went there this week and they had single cans, and I just asked for every single that you got, and I ended up leaving with 16 beers or whatever, and it was great.
Singles, Jesus.
You probably pissed the packaging crew off.
Yeah, they like it. Hey, they were like, "Hey, it's cool," and I just, if you're gonna do it, then I'm gonna support it because that's kind of what I want. So I want the variety. I don't really want. Again, John, I have the attention span of. I don't even know if this makes sense. Y'all probably make fun of me in the comments of an ant. I don't have an attention span. I just don't. It's Doug laughs at me because I binge shows, but that's because I have the attention span of an ant, meaning if a show's not engaging, then I am out in 2 seconds. And if it is, then I'm on it because I have to be. That's just the way it is. Yeah. So I can't it transfers to my drinking, and not that I can't. I'll just have a beer and I'll get bored with it in 2 seconds. Even if it's like Pliny the Older, the Elder, the middle-aged Pliny, it doesn't really fucking matter because midlife crisis Pliny, the retirement Pliny, the baby one. It doesn't really fucking matter because I'll just get so tired of it. And this is, Doug, I figured this out. This is one reason why I don't brew beer myself. Because I would be making too much and I just wouldn't drink it. Even if it's the best homebrew ever, I would have a beer and be like, oh, this is great. Where's the next one? So I'm bad. I'm not even saying that it's good. I am what's bad about craft beer, John, in this aspect, because I'm the one that's going to be drinking your smoothies, but I'm only going to have one.
Yeah, there's
at least you're supporting it. I mean, I think I would try more of those type beers if I can get them in singles.
Yeah.
I just can't
Ooh.
commit to a 4-pack of a milkshake IPA anymore.
Is that a double IPA, Greg, by the way?
That is a double IPA, my wonderful Venture Brewing glass.
Look at that.
But that is, look how clear and beautiful this one is. Our buddy Chris Drosner, Wisconsin Beer Baron, this is one of his favorite beers ever. He loves it. It's pretty good. Piney, but big. I'm not sure you would like it, Doug. Doug doesn't like offensive IPAs.
I don't
over hopped.
Yeah, I don't like super hoppy ones.
Yeah, and
that's probably why you go for the lactose, right? Because it just kind of smooths it out a little bit.
I don't mind some of them if their hops levels are pretty reserved. Yes, I'm busy drinking macro, Greg. Yeah, you'll like the next one.
I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, on this show, we always like drink what you freaking like, you know. But
right,
anyway.
And that's what everybody should do, right? Drink what you like, you know, pair or match your beer with whatever foods you like. So we went around on Twitter today. That was interesting.
We don't drink shame here, John, but we'll food shame the fuck out of you.
So. Yeah, food shame. Food
be warning.
Match, yeah.
Right. Be warned.
Wait a minute. So you're food shaming from Wisconsin? Like what? Like isn't it just like cheese?
Right.
I mean, you can food shame on
milk.
Like what? Food shame on your dairy, son.
Right. Hey, I already warned you. I ain't from here, so I don't defend shit from here. Just so you know. But
the funny thing is, like I told you, I said I'm gonna be in Wisconsin in June. You know, so we'll have to link up and we'll have to like get a picture and like submit it to Guinness.
Yes, please.
You know I mean? we'll have to get you some cheese curds since you're making fun of them.
No, I like the cheese curds. Yeah, we got to link up. We got to take a picture, send it to the Guinness Book of World Records. 2 black guys in Wisconsin. That's got to be a record or something, right?
Oh, absolutely. Drinking beer too. It absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Maybe we can call LaCrosse Free Will and get him in as well. We have 3.
I seriously think there's right. Listen, man, I'm seriously. I told Doug a couple times. I seriously think I'm the only black guy who drinks beer in this whole state. I'm definitely the only like beer person who's black in the state. I absolutely am. If there's one out there, I'm trying to find you.
That's what we gotta find a way to link up, man. Just for that alone.
I'm here for you. Yeah. Oh, we have Simon, but does he count? He's a brewer. Does he count, Doug?
Is he black?
So we have Simon. Venture Brewing is a brewer. He's Simon's black. He is the brewer he's a brewer there, but like he's not, I wouldn't consider, I mean, he's a brewer. He's not really, a person who writes about beer or is in beer. I mean, he's in beer, but you know what I'm saying.
He's not a casual.
Yeah. I mean, that's his job, and he's great at it. And don't get me wrong, I love him. But outside of Simon and I, here we go. Anyway, Doug.
And where's that brewery located? Is that in Madison? You said.
Venture Brewing is in. It's in Milwaukee.
Oh, it's in Milwaukee. Yeah, Milwaukee might be far from me, but.
Yeah, highly recommend getting their beer because it's
a good one. And they do this, John. They do this wonderful. What I would love to see brewers more do, which is coffee shop in the morning, brewery at night.
We have one of those.
I love that shit. Yeah, I love that shit.
It's called Death of a Fox. It's in Jersey, and it's a coffee shop by day. And after a certain time, you can get beer. And the best part about it is when you do like a coffee porter or coffee stout, like it's legit. The coffee is legit. So, so that's kind of what we got going on in Jersey. We have one of those. So
great name for a place too.
Speaking of coffee, can we segue to our next release we're going to do with Fort Nonsense Brewing in Randolph?
All right, after Doug's second.
Let me do my second beer, and then let's go right into that shit.
Yeah, let's go right into that.
All right, so this is not a macro, Zach, you motherfucker. This is the chocolate peanut butter cup imperial milk stout from Beer Tree Brewing, which is near me. They have actually weirdly expanded and made giant places during the pandemic, and I'm not sure how they pulled that off, but they opened up a place that's literally took up like a whole section of the mall that's like run down because all the malls. But yeah, not a Miller High Life. So there.
Wait, Doug, say that again. What was it? A chocolate milkshake, peanut butter? What is going on?
There's a lot going on.
Right.
Well, Greg, you know my propensity for wanting to buy things that have like a million ingredients. So this is a chocolate peanut butter cup imperial milk stout. Super scoop.
Okay.
It's already starting to foam out over, so I better pour this shit.
You gotta. JHG's a fan here, so he's that. We'll see, but yeah, Doug is not afraid of any like 17 ingredient beer. John.
Look at that,
Hey, I have that glass. Nice glass.
Yeah, it's a good glass, right?
I don't have one.
So the peanut butter is like just popping right off as soon as you open the can. I could smell it before it even got over near my face. And I
means a good amount of PB2 into
that.
Maybe. How about a Willy Wonka shoe?
Yeah.
Ooh. So yeah.
I love the chest stuff after that. Like he's really.
Would have been great if this guy came up to him right after and said, "I'm in defeat. Come here and kiss me."
I love how they're all cheering that on. Like, that's cool. That's worse than the actual act, actually. One of that.
No, so what's funny is the peanut butter is on the nose, and you get it right up front in the taste, but then it goes right into chocolate and milk, and you can not even like milk chocolate. It's literally like two distinct things. So this is really good, really smooth, but it's 10%, so you have to be very careful. But yeah, really good. Let's be clear. That's Brendan Fraser from the Mummy's hair. That's not Brendan Fraser's hair.
Yeah.
But he did have awesome hair back then, for sure.
Oh yeah, he definitely did.
Watch me chug this.
Oh my god! All right, I'm getting rid of it.
Looking at the comments, I see Jay Williams checking in. Yes, Yankee fans are the worst. Right after Phillies fans. Whoa! Shot at the host. Shot fired.
Oh, Jay. Way to bring it in. Coming in hot.
Disgruntled Mets fan checking in.
Right.
Man, that's what that is. That's disgruntled Mets fan coming for the Phillies.
Yeah, for the record, both Dak and Jay just joined the Daddy Porter's Beer Group while we're on the show just to do that shit. Both of them.
Oh, excellent. And Jay's not afraid. Like, could you piss off two more violent baseball fan groups than the Phillies?
See, that's the thing. I don't think the Phillies fans are super violent. And here's why. Because
they booed Santa Claus.
No, those are Eagles fans.
That was the Eagles.
Okay.
So Phillies fans, like the demographic is like 60% of them are like over like 60, right? So they're not super violent.
Okay. We're talking about Phillies fans specifically, Doug, not Philadelphia fans.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a different.
He's like
that's a different beast. Right. No. John's right though. There's a nuance there with the Phillies fans.
There is a hierarchy in terms of violence, though. It's and this is just my experience and what I've seen.
Same people.
It's Eagles, Flyers, probably Union because soccer goons, right? They gotta have that, and then it's probably
Eagles.
No, you know what? Sixer fans
are
above that. And then it's probably Union, and then
right. Eagles fans they're the worst.
Yeah,
they're the worst of Philly fans have to offer, in my opinion.
What's that? The Eagles?
Yes, absolutely, by far. I don't even think it's a question. Like, I've been to all those games as an adult, and the only one I felt like I needed to have some protection was the Eagles.
Really? Kind of they're cheap, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a jail in the basement of the stadium, like, you already know what time it is, right?
Right.
If something pops off, they're just ready to go. There's no need taking them down to the precinct. They're going right.
Now again, Philly had the Vaseline, the damn light poles after they won the World Series. Now again,
wow. I mean, these comments,
World...
man, are coming for me. Raiders fans are horrible. I'm a Raiders fan.
Well, let's ask JHG who he's a fan of, considering he's from Virginia. You can
no, but JHG's actually from Boston. He's a masshole.
And he has the audacity to call Philadelphia fans dicks. Oh my god!
Right? Look, y'all you deal with him. Yeah. Anyway, weren't we supposed to talk about some beer y'all got on Philly fans? And now notice how the conversation's going downhill, Doug.
Yeah, the more beers we have, the more it's going to do that. So real quick, just want to plug our next release that's coming out.
Okay. Right. Asshole, gross, right. My wife.
Yeah, he always tells me that. Like, from Massachusetts, so
she's a proud masshole. He'll tell us in about 2 seconds here. He's proud of it. He's not shying away from that, and it's not an insult because he says it himself. So
I respect Jay. I respect Jay because Jay, like knows exactly like where his bread is buttered and like what drives like his vitriol for other fan bases and stuff like that. You know, like he knows like Yankee fans are assholes because he's a Mets fan, right? And he's gonna associate Phillies fans with that. But then also the Knicks like let him down on a nightly basis, so it just kind of like helps him like build all that stuff.
The Knicks, oh my god!
You know, especially the other night. You know, I mean, it was like wow. After that, like, and I can appreciate that. You know, he's just like, man, here we go again. And he just got it ready. It's got to be tough being a Knicks fan right now. Really tough.
It's called building a tolerance, y'all. Oh, and then this real quick before, and then we'll get to the beer.
You spelled masochist wrong, right? That's what it is. Like, that's what it is.
Right. I'm from Los Angeles. Had nothing to do with Penn for this Lakers shit. Well,
yeah, but you also have winning time, Zach. That's a fun show.
It is. It is not winning time in LA. It is losing time.
No, it's not.
Right.
Show winning time is good.
Right.
It is time. Let's book that baggage to Cancun. That's what it is.
Right. I can talk hours about LeBron James. He's fascinating in so many ways. But the one thing, real quick, I don't ever want to talk about, and Doug and I, the exhausting GOAT conversation between him and MJ. I'm just so tired of it. Like, it's so dry. It's worse than sex without lube. It's just horrible.
What's this? What's worse than that?
The whole MJ and LeBron GOAT conversation. Yeah. I'm just so tired of it. Like, to me, it's just more vast. But LeBron, like, at this point in his career, he's a selfish little bitch, in my personal opinion. I love LeBron, like in Cleveland, but now he's a selfish guy who just wants to win. And everywhere he goes, he wins one chip, and then the rest is destruction. Like, he leaves destruction in his wake, and the Lakers are dealing with it now. Now he's talking about jumping to another team. Doug, he's going to jump to another team and then have everybody trade all their whole assets. They're going to win one chip, and then it's going to be like downhill from there.
That's accurate because, you know, I kind of snapped a little bit the other day on the time.
I like LeBron. I want to like him, but John,
I like him too, but like enough's enough.
Right,
you know?
it's getting to be too much.
It's like I hear Laker fans and stuff like that, and like if April's watching, sorry April, but I'm gonna go on the Lakers a little bit. But you know, it's like everything on my timeline now is like, oh well, LeBron wants to play with Steph, and Laker fans saying we miss our role players, and what are Lakers gonna do next year, and all this other kind of stuff. And exactly, I'm like, they're irrelevant. I feel like they're done. We don't have to hear about them until next year. Stop talking about them. Let's talk about good teams. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like let's not talk about these guys anymore. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's Dodgers season. You know, why are we talking about
these playoffs? Right.
Yeah.
Right. But go on. I'm sorry, John.
LeBron has a shelf life, is what it boils down to. He gets in like the first year, there's like excitement. Everybody wants to go play and like gravy train and ride coattails and all this other kind of stuff. And they'll win a championship, and then they realize that, hey, you know what? That first year, everybody was excited. We won a championship. First 2 years where we won a championship with this team, and then later on, you realize it's like LeBron, some other marginal star, and the rest is like, borderline G League players, and it's like you can't win a title with that. It's garbage, especially when people get hurt.
Right.
The best thing
And
the
now
Lakers, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
The best thing was that the Lakers won it in the bubble, and there was like nobody there to celebrate. Like that was the best thing. That's like the best thing.
Now LeBron wants to go back to Cleveland. And I'm like, no, bitch. I'm not even a Cleveland fan. I'm not a fan of anything. But I'm like, no, bitch. No. Stay your fucking in Lakerland. You were happy when you got there. Like, how about you sit down and just shut up? And then he wants to go to like, I want to play with Steph now. No, bitch. No.
Did you see the clip of Steph? Did you see what Steph said about it?
So what he said, Steph said, I'm good.
He's like, I'm good. He said it's good to have those fantasies. I was like, oh, man. Because I think Steph doesn't want to tarnish his legacy that he had to like play with LeBron to like get something,
Well, and he's already dealing with that whole KD thing. Like, he can't win without KD, even though he did win without KD. And they were one of the best teams ever before KD even came there. And don't get me started on the K motherfucking D either.
Oh, wait, Zach is a Lakers fan? Is that what's going on? He's like, how dare we celebrate from home where it was safe?
Yeah, Zach's from Los Angeles. That's
that championship celebration, like a D3 basketball championship. There's like 5 people there, and they're all like bouncing around. It's like, all right, the D3 championship, you guys.
Right.
I'm going to say one thing, and you guys will hate me for it, and I don't care. LeBron James is the best player I've ever watched play basketball. He might be a douche. Michael Jordan was a fucking asshole.
That's probably accurate.
I'm not going to argue that. He could still be the best player you ever seen and still be a whiny bitch. I mean, they both can happen, and they both are happening in my personal opinion.
And Michael Jordan ruined basketball for about 10 fucking years because everybody wanted to play hero ball and nobody wanted to share the ball. That was the legacy of Michael Jordan after he left.
John, Doug's not a Michael Jordan fan.
No, I think he is one of the most. He's one of the most maniacal players I've ever seen.
How deep is your Michael Jordan hate? Were you actively rooting for Kansas in the second half? Did you watch?
Yes, but not because of Jordan. I fucking hate Carolina.
You just wanted to see North Carolina fail, like everything associated with Jordan. You just want them to fail.
No, it wasn't because of Jordan. It's because they had Roy Williams as their coach, and I fucking hated Roy Williams. I hated him when he was at Kansas. I hated him when he was at North Carolina. I hated him both times, and because he's familiar with that, and he's in the fucking stands rooting. I'm like, dude, you were coached both those teams. You should shut the fuck up and sit down and watch the game.
We all agree that if we want to talk about insufferable coaches from North Carolina, like Coach K is the fucking worst. Can we agree on that?
Maybe.
Doug's a basketball expert here. Especially
for the record,
he's no longer Coach K. He's Coach L because he took 2 L's.
I also played.
Wow.
Coach L. Coach L.
I also
That's what I'm saying, Jay. Like, you guys. There was silence when we were talking about Coach K. Like, what's going on? You guys love Coach K?
I do not love Coach K. I don't find him as offensive as other folks. That's all. And I will say I took a special offense to you talking about D3, considering I played fucking D3 basketball. God damn it. So,
yeah, but you weren't in the NBA. Shut up, Doug.
No. And I was never going to be in the NBA for I was a bench player in fucking D3. So it's not like
so you've seen the celebrations. It resembled that celebration in the bubble, right?
I did. My college actually did win the NBA championship one year. And it was in a gym in New Jersey, and it looked like a big high school celebration. That's exactly.
That's what the bubble championship was like.
But the bubble championship was less than that. There was nobody there. It was just this team. So
Right.
There's a bunch of dudes like bouncing around. Yeah, it was crazy.
I don't even remember this. Y'all remember this? The Coach K video game?
I do.
I don't remember the Coach K video game. It was probably awful though. But he said it was hot.
He said it was hot. Yeah. On Sega Genesis, it looked like. What do y'all got against Mighty Ducks 3?
Wait, where did this come from? What happened? Mighty Ducks 3?
D3.
D3. Oh.
Fucking Daniel.
Anyway, we got to get this train back on the rails, y'all. Y'all took it off.
But this
y'all
is crazy. This is fun. This is why I love doing the show every Friday.
I knew, and I knew John was going to drag us into some crazy fucking split shit. Like, if you see his timeline is all this shit. And it's entertaining, too, as fuck, actually.
Jay dragged us into this. Like, let's not let Jay off the hook.
Okay. We'll blame Jay for sure. But anyway, let's get to this fabulous. Yeah. Let's get to this beer that you want to talk about, because I want to talk about it. Yeah. And Doug and I both were like, what the fuck is going on with this? So we can get back to y'all heckling us about all this later, but we definitely have to get to this before we have to go. So, John, what's going on?
Yeah, so our latest release or collaboration beer, I should say, like our goal was to do about 22 collaborations in the state of New Jersey in the calendar year. So hopefully we're gonna get them done. Is this Weyerbacher or is this? No, this is New Jersey craft beer. So okay. So the beer I had earlier, the Life beer, that was a collaboration we did. So this one, most recent one was with Fort Nonsense Brewing in Randolph, and is called Cafe du Monde, like Fort Nonsense instead of Cafe du Monde. It is a New Orleans style cold brew porter. So it's got Toka coffee, chicory, and lactose. So the chicory is what makes it a New Orleans style cold brew porter. So that should be coming out, I believe, next week. It'll be released at the brewery up in Randolph. So we're really excited about this latest collaboration. So.
Damn, have you been able to get a sip of it or anything?
I have not.
Okay.
So if I can secure some cans or something like that, maybe when I'm road tripping, I'll make sure that one gets to you.
That'd be great. And where can people see? Where does this distribution? Just Jersey only, or
Jersey?
Okay. Northern Jersey, right?
Yeah, mainly Northern Jersey and Randolph. Yep.
Randolph area. Yeah, I love to spread the word on a porter, being Daddy Porter. So, yeah, like Doug said, he's jealous. Chicory is what they use for Vietnamese coffee. That'll be a dope beer. Yeah. That's I see it creeping up a little bit in craft beer, chicory. A couple things, but otherwise, not. It's not really, it's not a normal thing.
Yeah, because like I said, Dogfish used to do the chicory stout. So,
all right. So, John wanted to talk pop culture. He says that's part of what he likes about what we do, Doug. So we're gonna jump right in here. So,
more tangent.
What do y'all think about? And if y'all want to go back to Sports Weekend too, we don't have a problem with that. But what do you think about Will Smith's 10-year sentence? John left.
He had to go get something. He'll be back. So
okay, well, he didn't have to totally leave or anything.
Well, he said it in the chat, in our side chat there, man. So pay attention.
I know, but he didn't have to totally leave though.
Well, anyway, you don't want to be rude and leave a blank screen. So anyway,
he left the whole. But he left the whole studio, Doug. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. My fault.
Right, he's not even in the studio anymore. Anywho, Will Smith got, quote, sentenced to 10 years of not being able to attend the Oscars. And so I'm going to make my comment first, Doug, and then I'll let you go. And by that time, he went to go slap Chris Rock. Right. So I'm gonna say my piece and then I'll let you go. To me, I really don't give a shit, and whatever. I don't think it's people. I think initial people are like, oh, that's harsh. Why is it harsh? He can't attend a stupid fucking award show for 10 years. Oh wow, whoop this shit. Like, with all due respect, Will Smith's sentence in all this is all the flack that he's been getting for this. And the main John's back, cool. So we're talking about, I'm addressing the whole Will Smith, John got quote sentenced to 10 years of not being able to attend the Oscars. And I'm saying overall, boo fucking who. And I really don't give a shit about that because, or not that I don't give a shit. I just don't think it's some big arcane thing that people are making it out to be on social media, or at least the initial reaction that I saw. People were like, 10 years, that's a lot. 10 years, I really don't get it's he can't attend the stupid fucking award show that he disrespected by going up there and slapping a man. So, if that's the only thing that he gets out of this professionally, and I don't think it is, it's not really that bad. Now, where I do feel bad for Will is that there's reports that he's in rehab or he's having mental issues with this going forward. And I don't wish that on really any man, even if you make a mistake. Will made a mistake. He made a mistake in front of the whole fucking world, and that's where the big mistake came. But ultimately, as a person, I kind of feel for him in this aspect because, again, people are shitting on him and getting all hateful over this, and I understand that part. But as far as the Oscars go, I really don't give a shit. I just didn't think that he deserved to have his Oscar taken away because he fucking earned that before he slapped the motherfucker.
Did they take it away from him?
Excuse me?
Did they take it away from him?
No, I don't think they did. I didn't see that.
No.
And I don't think they should because he fucking earned that shit by what he, how he acted in that movie and all that, directed, produced, all that bullshit. He earned that Oscar. He didn't lose. He shouldn't have lost it by slapping someone after the fact. Now, them banning him for 10 years, I don't know. Seems about right to me, and I really don't care. Now, the other shit that, he has to deal with, residual as far as mental, and people still coming after him with hateful shit and overrating kind of the whole thing. I don't think, I don't like that as, as a father, as a family man. I don't like that he has to go through that. So it's a nuanced thing for me. I do feel remorse, but as everybody knows, I thought what he did was bullshit to Chris Rock. I didn't think it was right. I just don't think that was a good, if somebody insults me, I'm not necessarily going to haul off on you. Now, if you haul off on me, I will haul off on you. But I'm not going to haul off on you if you call me names or not. I'm going to roll my eyes. And I'm going to treat you like Amy Schumer. Look, Amy Schumer made 15 more bad jokes than Chris Rock probably ever did, ever. And do we go and slap her? No. Should we go and slap her? No. What we should do is shame the fuck out of her like everybody's doing already because she makes bad jokes as opposed to, hitting her or anybody. If anybody should have hit anybody, it should have been what? Was it Kristen Dunst, Doug? When she called her a seat filler? And that was rude.
I think if she'd have slapped her, that would have made the actors more.
She should, right. If anybody should be slapped, it should have been Amy Schumer. But anyway,
now to the slapping segment.
Doug, I'm gonna let you go, and then we're gonna get John. We're gonna get John's opinion. Where are you at with the whole Will Smith 10-year thing? And overall, he lost a job this week. I think the Netflix stopped his biopic, and so anyway, go on. Where are you at with all this?
All right, so. There's a lot to unpack, actually, I think, because that's true, Zach. Thanks. As you could say, Zach and I have a little thing going on there. So anyway.
I love this. Got the Fresh Prince of
Well done.
Sorry, Doug. Sorry, these comments are they're fucking out of control.
Bring them up, man. So, I read a lot of shit about this. Obviously, all of our feeds are fucking filled with this, and I heard a lot of viewpoints where somebody's saying this is a black guy standing up for a black woman and the woman he loves should raise that up because blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a black person, so I can't speak to that. One thing that I did take issue with, and when somebody remarked on it, and I thought, oh, I didn't realize that. And then when I went and looked into it, actually true. They said it was the most egregious thing that's ever happened at that show. And that isn't even fucking close. John Wayne had to be forcibly stopped from taking a Native American off the stage for giving a speech about indigenous rights. John Wayne had to be restrained for that. And it's like not something that was just, there were cameras on him as he was trying to get to her on the stage because Marlon Brando sent her up there to kind of refuse his award for a movie and talk about indigenous rights.
Yep.
That's way worse. And John Wayne was a fucking racist motherfucker. That guy was a racist.
He was
I mean,
not in those westerns.
Right.
And there was something that he said, I'm looking at now because I couldn't remember the exact quote, but he's actually said in a Playboy interview, I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility. So that motherfucker can burn for eternity. Fuck that guy. So I think that's worse. But regarding the 10 years, who gives a shit? It's 10 years of an award show that's boring and stuffy. Who gives a shit? Fuck it.
All right. So,
I like John's like, all right. So,
all right.
Right.
I feel like he didn't leave it all on the field for 10 years of a band. Like, I feel like you have to hit Chris Rock with a chair to get 10 years, right? Like that. The
so he could have did more. Okay.
Like he didn't even knock him down. Like, did you get 10 years for that? Like, I feel like had he known he was going to get a 10-year ban, he probably would have hit him with a chair. I think that. Like I feel like he did not leave it all on the field. You know, I feel like there was still more slapping that needed to happen for a 10-year ban. Here's how I feel about the Oscars, right? It's similar to like the Grammys. Yes, exactly. It's like a popularity contest.
Mm-hmm.
Half the
amongst
people
actors,
half the movies that win are like, what the fuck is this movie? I never heard of it, you know. And then you watch it and you're like, fall asleep halfway through it, and you're like, yeah, this is an Oscar winner. I think 10 years is a bit extreme, you know. That's not a 10-year slap exactly. But hey, you know, as Jay and I talk about all the time, he's got a role if he wants to do the Juwan Howard story. It's right there for him. You should know that being in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, that shit was a slap. Yeah.
He's got a role. They look alike. Like, I mean, he's got an opportunity.
What does Juwan get for that?
Juwan's got enough money? I mean, Juwan.
No. What did he get? What was the punishment?
He got suspended for the remainder of the regular season.
It was like I think it was five games.
Yep, that was it. Was five or six. I can't remember, but yeah,
it's like 5 or 6 games.
He's still coached there, right?
Oh,
I'm just okay. No, I'm cool. I'm just making sure he didn't lose his job or anything.
No, you know, people wanted him to like get fired and all this.
Yeah, they did.
But I was like, you know, it was mainly people from Indiana, you know, and I was like, did Bobby Knight not do any of that?
I was gonna say Bobby Knight. Don't. Y'all Indiana people need to shut the fuck up. Actually,
exactly.
Right?
Indiana or Indiana alumnus are watching this, but you know, they need to cut that out with like
the Fab Five Fingers.
Fab Five Fingers to the face. That's it. That's going to be named the story. The Fab Five Fingers. You know. Yeah. So you know it's.
Okay. So that's what Will Smith should have got. Is that what you're saying, Jay? Are you saying Will Smith should have got 5 years for a 5-finger slap? I
think they should have banned him for 1 year because here's the thing, right? Let me ask you a question, hypothetically. Let's say he wasn't banned for 10 years and he was going to be back at the Oscars next year. Aren't you watching it just to see if something pops off?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. It's like the juice baseball era, right? Like, we don't condone this stuff, so we're going to ban you. But you know what? Secretly, we hope somebody else gets slapped in the next award show. You know, like that's just what it is. It's like, it's performative, it's stupid, you know, and at the end of the day, like, the Oscars are trash anyway, like, because half the time I get up there, it's like, these movies suck anyway. You know, so it's just one of those things for me that I think it's I blame the internet Karens for him getting 10 years. Because if you look all over, like, people
That was a lot of internet
all,
outrage.
all the pearl clutching was going on, and all the fainting on the fainting couch with their mint juleps in their hand, and all that kind of stuff like that was going on.
Right.
You know, where I think someone said that, you know, Amy Schumer didn't help it, and she was like, "I'm still traumatized by it," and I'm like,
"What?" Amy Schumer needs to. I'm just saying,
put her and her dad and
she
put them
wasn't
in
entertaining.
Put them in a rocket and launch them into the sun. Like
right.
You know?
I'm only getting Amy Schumer. People run up on her for different shit. I'm just running up on her for that performance last week, 2 weeks ago. It was just bad. It was just bad.
Funny. She's not.
It wasn't funny. That shit wasn't funny. Whether you think she's funny or not, overall, you can have your opinion. I don't even know. I'm just saying she wasn't funny at that Oscar. I thought she was horrible.
No, I think the problem with these award shows is that they're on network TV. If you put them on cable TV, where you can get a little spicy in the comments and the language, like you'll get better viewership. You know, because then you can have edgier comedians on there. But I will say about Will Smith. Here's a philosophical question. Had Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, made that comment about Jada, was he going up there and smacking The Rock or trying to smack him?
No.
If it was Snoop, was he going up there trying to smack him?
Maybe.
You think he was trying to smack Snoop? I don't know.
I don't think Snoop would do that.
I don't think he would smack Snoop.
He'd probably be too high to get up off the fucking chair. So
no. But I think John's speaking to like the stature of the guy and like the big. You know what I mean? Like. You know,
again, the other way.
You know what I mean? Rock is a big motherfucker. He
wasn't out there smacking The Rock.
Right. Whereas Chris Rock is, at this point, I know it's hard to believe, but the man's almost 60.
Is he really?
I believe Chris Rock is 57.
Really?
Well, I'm looking that up.
Google it. I saw Rock 57.
Good Lord. 57. He's fucking 57.
Right. So we're talking about almost a 60-year-old man, on top of him being, you know, smallish in stature, I believe. I'm not sure how tall he is, but you're right. I mean, John's right. Like, again, The Rock is what, 6'1", 6'2", 300 pounds of muscle, motherfucker, or 260. Yeah. And Snoop is a tall motherfucker, and I don't think he's not tall and skinny that much. He's tall. So Will would have to almost like slap up, I believe, on that one. Mint juleps in hand, yes. And I think the internet Karens are what led Will to be, you know, have to go through these mental issues that if everything's reported that he's going through. And again, I can't say enough that that's not cool, and I feel for him in this aspect. But at the same time, I think Jack kind of made a point that no one is really. I mean, I know he's half joking here, but on some level, he's not joking. Sometimes it's hard to figure out when Zach's joking or not on the stream, John. Just so you know, but this one, this is a really good point. As far as the 10-year, you know, as far as the 10-year go, and it is a bunch of white people sitting around. You know, the board of the Oscars can't be having. There's no way there's a majority of women and, you know, black people on that shit.
So like, we can't have like a summer cookout at
right.
Oscars. That's probably what they were saying.
Besides the Karens that you talk about, I generally thought that I saw that most women were behind Will, especially black women. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just reading off of, you know, internet. But maybe, and then also there was a different thing too with this whole thing, John. There was the initial reaction. There was an initial reaction that everybody had, which was like, you know, yeah, he should have defended his wife and slapped him, and yeah. And then there was, in my opinion, a week later, where people like saw it more, talked about it more, and were like, nah, that's not cool. So it seemed like to me, what was that?
So that's when like all the faux outrage start to bubble up too, where people
right. I think it took a little while, right? Yeah. I think again as Americans, I think overall we were all like, yeah, defend your wife, man. Like fuck that, you can't talk shit on my wife. Fuck you. Like
there's that kind of thing. There's a lot of patriarchal shit to that too, but yeah.
Yes, there is, Doug, and that's the part I didn't like. I didn't even like it when it was first. Like I'm like, No, man. Like unless I'm back to this, unless there's a man attacking my lady physically, I prefer that she take care of her own business if she can. I don't think, so like, but also like, to me, what needs to happen is this, it just needs to be shamed. Like, again, no one went and slapped Amy Schumer for her dumb, stupid, unfunny jokes. We just all said
and
that
some
shit
of the
was dumb,
comments
stupid, and funny. Yeah, we
right,
just said it was
right.
all dumb, stupid, and funny. She got what she got, and hopefully she'll never be, be able to host again because her jokes were just unfunny. It wasn't even like, it just wasn't funny, lady. Sorry. And, that's how it is. But, like, if when it got physical, I think that was the immediate turn off for me, even though I understood the man wanting to defend his wife. And I understood, you know what I mean? Whether she cheated on him or not. We're getting way too much into this shit.
I mean, that's kind of what I am. It's like, I feel like she made him, like, out to be a fool for so much the last like 6, 7, 8 months or whatever. Like,
okay,
him to go up there and like do that, like, I mean,
so there was an opinion in this house, and we talked about it.
Like, it's a joke, and like the joke that Chris Rock made for like her condition, I think is innocuous on the scale of like what Jada did to Will with like how she kind of clowned him publicly and all that other kind of stuff. Like, in my opinion, if he still wanted to go ahead and defend his wife because he loves her, and all that, like, I don't begrudge him that. But like, we got to put it in perspective, from a transgression standpoint, and I don't think they're equal. Now, some people will say that Chris Rock's always been making fun of them and all this other kind of stuff and all that kind of stuff, and I get that, but like, Will Smith was like made into like memes over Jada's like relationship with Tupac and that August cat. You know what I mean? Like, so people are already clowning him about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I look at it from that standpoint, and I'm just like, he's just in a tough spot because of that, and I think he really loves her. And like, that's why he did that, but I don't feel it as reciprocal, and I think that's a tragedy, like in all of this, and now he's like kind of put his career, in a bad spot, and I don't think it needs to get to that point. That's all I'll say on that. Is like, I don't think it needs to get that far, when he was already down bad, as the kids say, right?
Right. And this is where I hear people say, like, this is where Jada has culpability in this. Because I'm like, well, how does she have culpability? She just didn't like the joke, and she didn't tell him to do this. But at the same time, the significant other in my house said, well, that Jada was all up in his ear about this. She was. And that's what was the trigger point, meaning that, like, Jada, like, you guys are married. You guys know what I'm talking about. Your wife, right? Your wife. Listen, scenario: your wife hates your neighbor, and you don't really care. Okay, you've heard so much shit from your wife about the neighbor that the second the neighbor, and you don't care though. Like, you can either go either way with the neighbor. You don't really care. You're not emotionally invested in it. But if the neighbor like did something to you and you snap, my significant other was saying, well, that's because I was bitching at you for like 17 years in a row, and then you got mad at the neighbor because because they're inciting you, so then you jumped off at the neighbor, even though you don't give a fuck about the neighbor. And then this is where my significant other says that's where Jada has a little bit, not full culpability, because she didn't tell him to go do it and all that, but she has culpability in the aspect that she kind of almost set the scene for him to just be like, look, motherfuckers, fuck you. So, John, you were agreeing with that. Do you agree with that, or where are you at with that? Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, like, I feel like she could have just taken that at that point, and he could have, had a conversation with Chris. I mean, he's a comedian, so he's going to say that kind of stuff. I don't know. Like I don't know Will and Jada's relationship, so I don't, claim to understand it.
Yep.
But I do know what I've seen, and I think that's where the dissenting opinions come from, because it's like, well, Jada did all this kind of stuff and made this guy into a meme, and then he's doing this, and now he's still, or whatever,
Yep.
But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But he's got the 10-year ban. It is what it is. Like,
so does that mean, real quick? Does that mean that he can't be nominated for anything?
I don't think he can't. I think he just can't go to the ceremony. Right?
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm mostly cool with it as long as it's just that.
But they boycotted that ceremony before anyway. So I think it's
And then what about the dude that stuck his tongue down Halle Berry's throat? What about all that? Like,
the reason I say like 10 years is like too excessive is because that's a long time, for an acting career to span. You know what I mean? And like from a role standpoint and like what he can do and all that kind of stuff. That's why I think it's just kind of excessive. I think maybe I'm not even maybe 1 year just to kind of do it and just say, hey, we don't condone this kind of behavior. But 10 years is a long time. But again, it's just for him to be in attendance. But it is what it is. So,
Doug, you know what is what it is? Your third beer.
Yeah, what do you got, Doug?
Yeah. So,
or do you have any more comments on the Will Smith thing? You can jump off after that.
I will. I have one after this, but let me just get to the third one. The only reason I wanted to pull this because I loved this beer when I had it, and I stuck it in my cellar fridge, and it's been 1 year and 3 months. So we're going to see how it is, because I'm not sure how this will age. I don't know if you remember me giving. I think I sent you one of these, a black wheat wine from Weyerbacher. It's Instruments of Destruction. Pretty sure I sent you one of these, Greg.
Okay.
And my fancy labeling system with masking tape and marker to let me know when I put it in the fridge.
Hey, look, it works. It works, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Zach says you find out real quick values of the punishment. You fuck up the sanctity of a white ceremony, you get the book thrown at you.
Fair point.
Yeah, and Jay's asking about a black wheat one. That sounds pretty.
You abuse women, you abuse women, you win a Grammy. Okay.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein is a prime example of that. So yeah,
Daniel agrees.
Yeah, Greg's favorite glass.
Yeah, that shit's sexy. Look at the curves on that. Look at the hip. Look at the hips on that one.
Like aggressive pours. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's coming in hard with those aggressive pours. Right. Good stuff.
So this is supposed to be made with hazelnut and orange blossom honey. So we're going to see like hazelnut's still on the nose, which a lot of times when you age it, the adjuncts just kind of fall off. The hazelnut's definitely on the nose.
Hazelnut is an adjunct I like.
Vanilla is the one I think that falls off the easiest for me from an adjunct over time.
So this fell off more into barley wine phase, and
nothing wrong with that.
No. Well, the thing is, when I've had this fresh wheat wines, I don't know if you've had a chance to have any of those. Greg and I actually have one together once. I think
I had one from Boulevard. They did it way back when. Boulevard did one when they had their big bottle series. I think is when I've had the wheat wine.
I don't remember that one, but wheat wines were something I'd never had. And we went to this one brewery about 20 miles from my house, and they actually had one on tap, and it was like 12%. And that shit drank like 5. It was like. And we were both like, whoo, I can't have more of that because I'm going to be on the floor. And but this was something different because never heard of a black wheat wine. Fresh, it was unbelievably good. Really, the hazelnut and orange honey blossom were really present. The hazelnut's on the nose, but it just tastes like a flat barley wine now after cellaring it. So not something I would suggest cellaring. So.
Excellent. Yeah, Doug, you drank the macro first, so your taste buds are invalid.
All right, you're fair.
we heat wine. I want y'all to remark on this.
Don't mess with God. Remember, there's also Jews, and we also believe in God, and we also believe that God, we have ways that God had taught us to be, and that is not pedophilia. pedophilia. It's not homosexuality. A man shouldn't lie with a man like he lied with a woman. And Disney has got to be quiet for the Christians and the Jews. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hero Originals, one God. God is one.
Hey Disney, who did you sell out to? China?
Thank you.
When the edible hits. She was about what, 45 milligrams in? What'd you say? And she got on her rant.
Yeah, she needs a black wheat wine. Yes, she does. That's a euphemism, right, Jay? Oh, fucking
Damn, bro. Like, she probably already had a barley wine, and she was pilled up. Definitely, she's probably about 35 mil in. Probably her first one, and she was tripping.
What's funny is Daniel's Jewish, and him saying that is like, man, lady, shut the fuck up. He's exactly right.
She's yeah. I just put it in here too because like we're vibing right now, but I do want to give a shout out to this guy. Couple of people actually for this one. I'm drinking the bitty blonde from Norwalk Brewing. Shout out to Ricky Rivera and to Humberto Acuna for sending me this all the way from California. So definitely like to support the minorities who are out there brewing and all that good stuff. So I'm drinking one of his beers. Fantastic. So that's good stuff. So
a blonde, you taking the low ABV tonight. The Weyerbacher rep.
It is 10:43, and my daughter's gonna be up in like 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like she's.
Hey man, make one for the team.
I am
again. Weyerbacher rep, low ABV. I continue the irony. I continue to enjoy. That's all I gotta say.
Listen, you know.
She was covering her Trump. She was covering her Trump shirt, and Doug and I, sarcasm, love when people use their religion to be so hateful. And it just seems like they're using it to justify their hate, and we're over here saying, "What the fuck?" Like, it's just. Was religion always this hateful? Or was it just not out in the forefront like it is? Like I just don't remember people using it, John.
Religion
like when we were young.
It was always hateful.
Okay. I just don't remember people using it or maybe seeing people use it to be hateful. You know what I mean?
Puts it up on the forefront.
Okay. That's okay. And that makes sense. And the internet too, because now we can, now we can tape all these Karens and post them on Reddit where I grab them and then I show them here.
And we get that like in the on the Bird app, right? Like we get the Karen thing and all.
Yes!
Kind of stuff. And I will say this. So if I could leave the guests with anything, and just like if you want like an insight, like what I'm about, and like what you're gonna get if you follow is like you're gonna get a lot of random shit. Obviously, like I will live tweet sports, and some people are like, "Oh, you're live tweeting sports," but a lot of people do, right? Like I see people live tweeting like Premier League matches, and I don't understand what's going on if I'm not watching the match. But that's their thing. Like let them enjoy it. Let them. They're talking to other people that are in their space and that they understand. And like if you don't understand it, if you don't like it, there's a mute button, right? You can like exit the timeline if you want. So it's like do that kind of stuff. But then also, one thing I always say is like don't ever take yourself too seriously. I feel like a lot of people do that. Especially in the craft beer world. A lot of people take themselves too seriously. Like they always have to have an opinion about something, and it ends up being a dog shit opinion. I saw a lot of discourse today about like someone said something about like wine works better for like pairings and beer does, and I'm like, like who cares, right? You know, you know what I mean? Like,
right,
beer,
right. But
beer is so versatile that like
it's
it
factually wrong.
It could work
Factually
for
wrong.
anything, and
Right.
you know, it's like, you know, it's just, and then people were like going in about it. Well, it's not beer pairing, it's beer matching, and I was like, what are you doing? What are we doing?
Oh my God.
You know, so it's just like you see stuff like that, and like what it says to me a lot of times is like people are just taking themselves too seriously.
Yes.
Like, have fun conversation
Yes.
about it, ask some questions, be curious. Like, don't what are we really grandstanding about, right? We're grandstanding about the oldest beverage in the history of the earth, right? And we're saying that it doesn't work for like pairing with food. And like, if you just get that concept in your head, like, you can understand, like, how stupid do you sound right now? You know what I mean? Beer is older than wine, right? That's a proven fact, right?
Yep.
beer
Beer at a certain point was safer than water, right? So
yeah,
for you to
because
say,
they
hey,
feed
it's not
it to their
pairing with
kids.
food, you're kind of an idiot for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, when you see and you hear stuff like that, like it just really like makes me groan and stuff like that. And then you know, the DMs get spicy and stuff like that, and it's a good time. Like we talk about like who has like you know, but you know, it's one of those things. It's just like, again, I have to go back to it. Like, don't take yourself too seriously. You know, it's just a beverage at the end of the day. People are just trying to have fun. Twitter's a place where you have a lot of opinions. Like, even look at like the last couple of pictures I posted. Like, I posted my daughter's cleats today because I think they're badass. You know what I mean? Like, she's going to start t-ball on Monday, and you know, she may not be the best player, but she's going to have the best fucking drip, you know, on that field. You know what I mean? She's going to have the best fucking drip on that field.
Those are pretty damn hot.
Yeah, no, and it's her two favorite colors, pink and purple. So it's like perfect. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's just like that's what you're going to get. A little slice of life, a little bit of beer, a little bit of politics every now and then. But overall, I just, you know, want to have a good time. I want to, you know, laugh, you know, enjoy it. It's a little escape. And just, again, not take myself too seriously about, like, you know, beer opinions and all that kind of stuff. So, you know,
at JONNJCB, y'all follow him. He's fun, and ultimately, this is how he got here. Is because I followed him, and I found that he was fun, and I also, well, you know, keeping it real, you being black didn't hurt. In fact, it helped because at least it works in these spaces. In other spaces, it ain't gonna work. But for us, you know, knowing that you're black, and also the Weyerbacher angle, I knew that, you know, I could just book you and Doug wouldn't even give a shit. So, not that Doug gives a shit about who I book, because he doesn't. He trusts me. But at the same time, we knew that we're both being fans of Weyerbacher, and then you being a black guy in the industry were just selling points for us. And then your timeline is fascinating as fuck. So it was just really nice. And we want to thank you. I'm not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere at the moment unless you need to. But we just wanted to thank you for coming in here and imparting your wisdom. And this is how we met Jay too. I met Jay on the old Facebook app, or the old Bird app, as people call it now. And y'all going to NYC. I'm not sure where.
Yeah, well, Daniel Fisher asked that we should have John come up with us when we do our New York City beer tour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Jay, right before the pandemic, we were working on a New York City beer crawl, food crawl, over like a weekend. We were gonna drop on Friday, and I was planning to leave like on Monday or something. And our friend Daniel Fisher was gonna take us. He's astute in everything as far as the breweries and the eateries in New York City, because he's lived there, what, Daniel, your whole life? But he's lived there at least recently. So we were going to get a whole bunch of people, maybe get a couple Airbnbs, everybody stay together. We go to all these breweries. So when that happens, Jay, if you interested, we will keep you up on it. We were doing it before the pandemic. In fact, I think we were doing it the month after the pandemic hit, and everybody knows the
you,
pandemic hit.
You and I were discussing this on our drive back from the Dad 2.0 conference,
right?
And we were making a decision, and we were like, we can't do that. Not with coming up.
The pandemic hit literally a month before we were supposed to do it, so now we are waiting until we're pretty much guaranteed that we can schedule something and go through the bullshit of getting hotels or Airbnbs and making sure that all the breweries are open and all that shit. And Daniel's going to take us to a restaurant or two. So long enough, 13 years. Yep. Daniel's really, astute about what the hell, the good places we can go. So Daniel and I were going to work on that. But yeah. All right, Jay, we'll let you know. Yeah, the more the merrier. Doug's going to bring his wife. We're gonna have a blast. So, it's still in the works. Unfortunately, we're just gonna wait until we know the pandemic is past, and no one really knows when that really is. We would love to say that it is now, but I don't even know. So
I am also only a train ride from Manhattan, so don't forget.
This has got bigger, blacker, and better.
Yeah,
more fucking sure. I apologize for the caucasity joining the crowd.
Yeah, it's all good. You know what I mean?
The caucasity.
You hang out with us for a little bit, like you might grant you like a cookout permit. You know what I'm saying?
Cookout permit. So speaking of this, and on the same lines, I really want to know what y'all think about all of what's going on with this clip. Someone has to talk to the cops.
All right. Jay, you're fair. I will be the ambassador. Yeah, but as someone who has a prison record, maybe not me.
Oh, well, that's why we got. That's why we got Daniel. We're good then. We're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Daniel.
Right. What do y'all think of? There's a couple things in this clip that are interesting.
Lady made our dinner awkward.
Let's go. I'm from Mongolia. Watch this, my brother.
Oh,
right. Kobe. What's up for Black Mamba, man? R.I.P.
You gotta bring the black man into this.
Say what?
You gotta bring the black man into this.
Black man, what? And me?
Come on, Kobe.
Yeah, Black Mamba.
Kobe.
that was his nickname.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, leave him alone.
No. When you make a shot, you say Kobe, because that's Korean.
Yeah, that's how.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said one time for Black Mamba, R.I.P. Like, getting it? Y'all getting it?
I get it. I got it the first time.
Alright. It's not insult or anything.
Wait. That was a white woman, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She had a slight
thoughts.
Oklahoma, West Virginia twang. Plus, it would have been funnier if you said Kobe and then said beef after it, right? If they were doing that.
Right.
But I don't understand her outrage for him.
Right.
Kobe. Like,
I
does she even watch basketball? It's like, have we established that? So here's the thing. What is the date on that clip? Like, was that?
I think it was recent.
Recent, so it wasn't like right after his death.
No, I think it was recent.
Oh yeah, I don't know what she's doing. It reminds me, you know what? Her saying "don't bring Kobe up" is like some of the dog shit takes we've seen on Twitter recently. Like, it's the same thing,
right?
It's like, where is this? Where are we coming from?
And she has no context to the whole Kobe thing.
What are we trying to accomplish?
Right, like everybody understands the Kobe thing. I mean, I get it. Like, it's Kobe. Like, my kids do this all the time. My kids never even. My kids mostly have not seen Kobe play basketball. Didn't see Kobe. They're the ones that think Shaq is the general representative. representation. They don't even think that Shaq is a fucking basketball player. So I showed them. There was a March Madness clip going around recently about Shaq and how he was at LSU and he was dominating. And I sent it to my boys, and they're like, "Holy shit, Shaq was an amazing basketball player." And I'm like,
Yeah,
right, because they have no idea. Shaq is like a pop culture phenomenon to them. They love him, but it's not about basketball. So like that's where the Kobe thing lives on. Is like my kids do this. Like they'll make a shot into the garbage can and be like Kobe, and I'm like, y'all don't even know who fucking Kobe is. I'm like, where does this come from? And they're like, is this what people say when you make a good shot? Like you say Kobe. So the fact that she missed all that. But then, John, the thing I didn't get before, I've been dealing with this fucking shit on my cheek all day. I was at the doctor's. I came home, took this big nap. I didn't get ready for this stream until literally 15 minutes before. I was seriously looking up clips a half an hour before. I usually, I usually put some time into pre-production. Doug knows this. I usually put some time into it, and I didn't see. Long story short, I didn't see that she was I thought she was a black woman.
Oh, okay.
Black woman saying this shit.
Doug, yeah. What do you think, Doug?
I think white people shut the fuck up.
We're throwing to Doug, and we're like, "It's your people, Doug. Like, what do you think?"
Right. Doug doesn't take ownership for that shit.
Doug's like, don't put them. No, I don't claim her.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. Remember, you know how when somebody goes and they point to some black guy, go, "What do you think about this whole black phenomenon or whatever?" Going on, right. You're speaking for all black people. I'm like, right. And you go, "I don't claim that motherfucker. That guy's not my guy." Well, that woman for me, fuck her.
Right. But anyway, so there's that aspect of it. What about the whole aspect of when was the last time y'all ate at a place like that? I've never eaten at a place like that. I feel deprived. I feel deprived actually because that shit looks fucking good.
Oh, it's a long time ago. I've ate a place like that, but I mean,
thoughts, Sean? Have you ever been to one of those?
Oh, I have. I love hibachi stuff like that. Like you watch him make it. Now, granted, it feels a little weird because I'm a white person watching a person of color fucking make food for me and put on a show, and I'm like, but the food is excellent. Like I wouldn't give a fuck if they didn't put on any show. Just cook the shit and bring it to me.
Right.
That's part of the thing, and that kind of sucks. But like, their food is. Go do it if you can. I know you and I are both of the same mind during the pandemic about what you should go do. I'm not eating in a restaurant for now.
Yeah, I'm still not. But John, have you ever been? Oh, I'm sorry, Doug.
Yeah, a long time ago I've been.
I'm sorry, Doug. I cut you off.
No, I was just saying, if you can, you should. The food, like, it's fresh off a fucking griddle. The fried rice is just awesome. Whatever protein you get, if you get a protein, it's fucking cooked great. They throw shrimp at you most of the time, which sounds dumb, but hey, throw me that shrimp. I'll eat every fucking piece of shrimp you can throw at me. I'll catch it somehow if it drops on the floor.
It's like SeaWorld.
Yeah. Give me all of them. It's a bukkake shrimp show. It's great. Welcome to
all right.
I'm going to go back there again with that image, but they'll
be like, "You want a shrimp?" No.
Yeah, right. I mean it's fun. Have you guys ever done like the Korean like hot pot in some of those like authentic places? There's a spot in Philly. It's called Chubby Cattle, I think. And like you get the hot pot, and it's like the setup. It's got the dip and the table where you put the hot broth or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about that is like, right, Jay, like whatever you want to add to your like hot pot is like on this like refrigerated conveyor belt that just goes around the entire restaurant, and like beef, chicken, pork, whatever just goes around on this conveyor belt, and you just like hit the button. and stop it and like grab it and throw it in your hot pot and all this other kind of stuff. It's like it's the wildest thing. If you ever get a chance to do something like that, like I think that's kind of cool too, you know, if you want to do that. But you know, I get it from a you know, pandemic standpoint, like, you know, dialing that back. But I mean, hopefully, but I'm gonna hold you guys too. Like if you guys are gonna be in New York, like you gotta hit me up. Like that'll be awesome. Like this group, Jay, if he can come up like that, that'll be a blast. That will be.
We're doing it. We're doing it. It's just a matter of time.
It'll be a blast.
It'll just be a matter of time, and we will plan it out months ahead because I'll have to drive from Wisconsin. I owe our boy Daniel Fisher is the man when it comes to shipping beer. I owe him a bunch of Wisconsin beer, so I'm going to be driving to New York with a trunk full of beer for this motherfucker. So,
wait, is he in New Jersey? Is he in New Jersey?
Dan's in New York City.
Yeah,
New York City. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Y'all should friend each other up. I'm not even friends with you on Facebook, but I think
I don't have Facebook, so that's probably why.
Oh, okay. Daniel lives a little bit on the Bird app. He can speak for himself. He does a wonderful podcast called
Zach just followed me, so I'm sure Dan will jump in there at a certain
Sweet.
point.
And Daniel does a beautiful podcast, fun podcast called Watch Okay Please, which him and his boys talk about. They try to talk each other into watching different TV shows and shit. So
yeah, we were supposed to talk about that because like
let's go.
The thing is like so I've been like
wait, hold on.
We have a whole intro for it, man.
I got a dumb little thing. Go. Doug, I don't have anything I'm watching. I started watching Deadwood this week, actually. And so far,
John.
Yeah, is it good? Should I keep going because it's boring me to fuck?
Yeah, I watched that. I watched that years ago. Deadwood was pretty good. It was good.
Okay, I'll keep on it. Yeah. It's really hard. It's really hard the first couple episodes, though. But go on though. Yeah. But what I hear it's great once I get in. So I'm gonna trudge through. But what do you got, John?
So here's what I have like in the queue to watch, and like some of the stuff that like I started to watch, and then come to pandemic. You know, good looking out, Dan. He just was telling me like his follower. He followed me. I started to watch Westworld before the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Got I think season 3 of that. That's all I was watching, and I kind of stopped. So I kind of have that like queued up. Ozark is in my queue. I heard that was pretty awesome. Mainly because of Ruth and her taste in 90s hip hop. So I was like,
yes,
they said if you like 90s hip hop, you'll love Ruth. So I was like, sold.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like in the queue. I watched some of The Mandalorian. I haven't watched the Book of Boba Fett on Disney. What else is in my queue? I've never watched like Game of Thrones. And I'm gonna tell you, like, so here's my philosophy. And it's the same thing with you, Greg. Like when you talk about like attention span and stuff like that. Like I can't stand being left on a cliffhanger from week to week with the show. Right. So I will let a season finish. Sometimes even a series, and I just want to go and watch them all. And that takes me like when I was a kid. I used to watch anime and I used to download the subs and all that kind of stuff because I never wanted to wait like every week. And then I knew there was a recap episode, and I would like skip that shit. And I was like, no, I want to see how this works out, you know. So that's kind of how I am with like shows and stuff like that. So if the season not wrapped up, like chances are I won't watch it unless it's like the last season, and then I'll start it and then I'll go through because I want to watch an episode every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to like sit and wait for like a week's worth of stuff. Like, come on, like, you know, I don't want to do that. But here's the thing.
Right.
So here's the thing I've kind of watched like on the side and like week to week kind of watch it because my wife watches it. But she's like all into those awful shows that are on TLC. So she's watching like 90 Day Fiance and like The Single Life and all that, and like that's her Sunday thing. And like I watched like a couple episodes of that, and man, what what does it what does it take to be a producer at TLC? Do you have to find the most downtrodden and the most, insufferable people on planet Earth and say, you know what, we have a show for you. We're going to make you rich? Because that's what it seems like. That is, those people are a hot mess on that show, but damn it, like.
Oh, that show. Oh, man.
Love is Blind. So I haven't seen Love is Blind. So what's the premise of Love is Blind?
Oh, Greg. So Greg, let me take this because I was the one who told Greg you should watch it because I watched it with my wife, and it is a bonkers fucking idea. But basically, you go in, and there's X amount of guys, X amount of women, and they go in and they are looking to marry. That's their whole. They want to find someone to spend the rest of their life with. That's the whole thing. But you don't get to see the person until you propose. So you have to propose to them to be able to see them. And it is just the fucking wackiest fucking thing because you're like, yeah, well, when you get to be with someone, the whole premise is you're initially attracted to them, usually.
Yeah,
or it's either that or you've been friends with them a while. You know what I mean? Like, and then you grow to be attracted to them. That's usually how it works. And these people are like having different, like, I don't know how. There was one guy in there who looked like he was on coke the entire time. It was Shane. You remember Shane, Greg, the guy that made all the weird facial expressions? He looked like he was just hyped up on coke the whole time. It was fucking crazy. Like, yeah, it is a crazy concept, and it's funny. They go and they get engaged, and then they spend like the week in the fantasy suite, and then they go home and they meet the families and all that, and then they get to the altar, and that's where they decide whether they're going to say yes or no.
Oh wow!
And
after they first talk to someone, like or meet them, like that's their moment.
It's such a hot mess.
It is a hot mess. And here's the thing: I kind of I loved it and hated it all at the same time. I hate that I hate that I liked watching people suffer. Does that make sense? Like you see it. So 5 people were engaged. You went to the altar. Only 2 of them said yes. So the other 3 had to watch these people just fucking crash and burn. And I'm like,
that's exactly why you're not on Twitter as much.
Yeah, and
right.
You're watching it and you're like, God, that sucks. Why do I like this? But I do. Why do I like this? Why?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm gonna address the comment real quick. Yes, that's what I have. Dan Fisher, favorite anime series. If you haven't watched it, Black Lagoon. It's fantastic. I think you can get it on Hulu. Black Lagoon is one of my favorites. Follow up to that is Black Lagoon is one of my favorites. I do like Attack on Titan was pretty good. I like that. But Black Lagoon is one of, and obviously Cowboy Bebop, but Black Lagoon is one of the more underrated ones. If you haven't watched Black Lagoon, both seasons, like that was awesome just because there's a lot of cussing, a lot of guns, girls shooting each other, and stuff like that. It's fun. Gunslinger Girl's another one. That's a good one. But if you follow me, you can DM me and I'll give you some recommendations.
The lowly cocky.
That's funny. I laughed at that. That was funny.
Would your wife watch that if it was on TLC?
What's that?
Would your wife watch that? Here's the lowly Caucasian. Would your wife watch that shit?
I would probably watch it.
So during football season, like, like I'm watching football and she's watching TLC, and like, as I like kind of walk through the living room or whatever, and like some of the stuff is just so like over the top.
Right.
I just stopped like dead in my tracks and like what's happening? And I made a joke with her one time. I was like, I feel like every time I walk through the living room, like someone's crying. Like, what's going on? Like, how can this be fun? I was like, does this show like really make you feel better about like your position in the human race? Like watching these people go through this kind of stuff. She's like, it's just such a train wreck. Like you just can't look away. And I get that from other people, just like with 90 Day Fiance, like especially, and what's the other show she watches? The twins.
For fuck's sake! Stacy.
Darcy and Stacy, right? Is that the name of the show?
Greg, the fact that you know that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that in my life. So that
Like,
makes me feel like a
yeah,
winner.
Darcy and Stacy were on 90 Day Fiance.
Yes, they were.
Then they got their own spinoff show, and we swear against that show. The only reason we know it, Doug, is because we avoid it. It's like the Pimple Popper bullshit. Pimple Popper bullshit, though, that's TLC too. And doubling down with I call them doubling down with the dumbasses.
Oh,
sorry.
The Doritos or whatever. You got like 20 kids, right?
Right. And this is why I feel bad, John, because they're black people. I feel bad that I'm rooting against black people. No, I do, because I root generally for all black people unless you're Will Smith or I don't know, some shit. Anyway, no. I root for all black people unless you're a bad person. How about that? But the Ricos, I just think set a bad example for fucking life. You don't, and I'm a father. My kids are of that age where they're influenced by all kinds of shit. So I gotta be like, I feel that I gotta be strong about opinions on some things, just so that they know where I stand. Whether it affects how they think or whatever they do or not. I just want them to know, as your father, I don't approve of this shit. Well, as your father, I do not approve of you having 4 fucking thousand kids. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
He's got a lot of kids.
With all due respect, you're not gonna get any. Like, at some point, Doug and I talk about this because Doug has 4 kids. I have 3. At some point, Doug and I, we talk about this in a respectful way, meaning, how many kids can you have that you have enough love to give? Like, at some point, it gets, in my opinion, there's a line. It gets too much. 4 is not it. But I talked to Doug because I have, we had 2 here in the house and 1 from a previous marriage my lady had, and he's old now, and he actually is out and has his own kid now. But my point is that there's only so much fucking love you can give.
Later for that, dude.
So, like, is it 8? Right? Is it 8? Is it 9? Well, with the Ricos, apparently it's 57, and I just don't approve. I don't approve.
It's like
I call them doubling down with the dumbasses, and they seem to be nice people. They seem to be like all that, and I'm not even trying to say that I'm the mean guy here. I'm the asshole. I got it. But that's another TLC show. But TLC loves this. Remember, they were Kate and 8, and don't they got the small people in there too, Doug? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just telling you what the hell goes on.
It's been on Black.
The Learning Channel. What do you learn? How not to be? What do you learn? The craziest people in America? What is this again? I'm sorry, I'm on a rant here. Yeah. The lowly Caucasians. I mean, what do we learn off of fucking TLC, John?
No, well, we don't. We learn. What we learn is like it's not that bad. Like whatever, however useless or downtrodden we may feel, like it's not that bad. I saw something on I liked it. It was from, and I think these accounts are great. Like they have like the Stat Muse, and they have like Hater Muse is the newest one on Twitter. Hater Muse. I was at the barbershop today, and it was funny. The Hater Muse had posted something, and it said, if you ever feel useless, just remember that Ben Simmons wears a shooting sleeve. And I thought that was hilarious. That was awesome. I just love that account. So it was just, and I think that's what TLC is. It's like, but it's like cyclical, right? Because at one point you're just like, well, I'm not as bad as those people, right? But at the same time, like, those people are worse human beings than I am. They're getting paid for this shit, and I'm watching. So it's like you go through these ebbs and flows where you're like, I'm not that bad, but I'm not making that kind of money, So it's stuff like that. So I was watching this one TLC show. It was last Saturday. Have you seen it? It's Extreme.
Oh, for fuck's
Extreme
sake.
Cougars. Have you seen?
It's starting with extreme, so already you're on shaky.
Yeah, it's like so the weirdest ones I've seen is like Extreme Cougars and like My Strange Addiction. That's another one.
Oh, Strange Addiction or Extreme Cheapskates. You see that one?
Yes, I've seen Extreme Cheapskates. The guy was like rebottling like beer. He was putting like cheap like gas station beer into like Heineken bottles and stuff like that. And he was like, "Wow, it's like yeah." I was like, "You're going through a lot of
Extreme Addictions. The dude married his car.
What's that?
On Extreme Addictions, the man married his car.
He did? Wow.
And he was making love to his car and all this.
What kind of car?
Dog, it's a fucking mess.
What kind of car?
I'm just asking. I
forget. It was
an 82 Ford Escort.
Yeah, it was something old. It wasn't anything. It wasn't like a Mustang or something cool.
93 Civic.
Right. Doug, what the hell are you watching?
All right. Well, what I'm watching is something called, it's far less drivel, at least, because I think it's fucking fun. It's called Moon Knight, which is a Marvel offering.
It's on my list.
Yeah. And it is, I've never read the comics, so I am not a person versed in what Moon Knight is. And it is a fucking trip. It is weirdly all over the place. I will say I have one gripe with the show. Oscar Isaac's in it. And in the beginning, they sell him as a loser. Oscar Isaac is a far too handsome a human to be considered a loser in any fucking plane of existence. So, yeah, he is a very handsome man, and they picture him as like just being kind of a schlep. And it's not like that at all. Like, he's a very handsome guy, but like it's basically almost feels like he has a multiple personality disorder. Which the premise of that just is like, oh, cool. This is not something they've ever done in any sort of Marvel thing. It's really excellent. Ethan Hawke plays a cult leader in it, and he is unbelievably good at it. Like, he's unbelievably good at being creepy. And yeah, you are right. He is amazing in it. It is, really good. If you get a chance to watch it, it's on Disney Plus. It's, it's totally worth it. If you're not into Marvel stuff, I understand it. This isn't like, I think Marvel has kind of stepped up their game to do stuff they don't normally do, and like WandaVision and things like that. And that's what this is like. This is not like your standard fucking thing with Marvel where you have like the Avengers and all that shit. It's not like that at all. It's really intriguing and really interesting.
I've heard people say that this is Marvel's Batman.
Maybe. I don't know. There's only been 2 episodes and I watched them both, and I was like, man, this is gonna be fun. I want to see where the fuck they go with this, because I don't know the comics. Show me what you're doing. And I generally watch shows like that where like I don't need to know what's happening before. Just take me on the journey. Show me what you're doing.
Right.
And that's how this is.
Okay, so Doug, real quick though. So Game of Thrones. Because again, John, when you were ranting about how you only like to watch shows, Doug knows. Doug's heard this a gazillion times from me that I will absolutely wait for a show to be completely out before I even start it, because I just need to be able to run through all that shit. The one that I'm waiting on now is the one that Doug was ranting and raving about, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, was that Laker thing. I can't wait until it's fully
winning time.
I can't wait till that shit's fully out.
Good.
I can't wait till it's out.
That.
I've heard some things about that. But Doug, tell me, I know Doug is a fan of Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. He really got annoyed by the ending. We don't want to go there. But Doug, is Game of Thrones something that is it going to take a couple episodes for me to get into it, or will it just grab me the first show, like shit like Ozark? It took me a little bit to get in. Like Ozark, it was like the 40th minute, and then I was hooked, and I literally watched that shit in a week, John. And then they're gonna drop. Netflix is gonna drop the last 7 episodes at the end of this month. And John, the only reason I binged it when I did was because I knew that was gonna happen. Meaning I was gonna be able to catch all that shit up, and then one night these motherfuckers are gonna drop the rest, and then I can sit there the whole weekend, finish that shit at my time. I need it I'm with you, John. I need it at my time. I can't be having y'all wait for shit. So, Doug, back to my question: is Game of Thrones? Does it take a couple shows to get into, or will it be able to grab me in the first show?
All right, I'm going to say this. I think it will grab you quick if you like political shit. That's the thing, is Game of Thrones is largely really a political show. It's more political than it is. Yes. There's politics on it that, especially as the first season gets towards the end, is all the politics of the different areas and how they work together. And there's some interpersonal shit, and the character-driven arcs are fucking great. The ending of the first show, if you aren't hooked to watch the next, I'll be really fucking surprised.
Okay.
Really
cool.
surprised.
Okay. Cool.
Because
I'll have to give it a shot.
Because that show has probably 4 or 5 episodes through its arc, which is 6 seasons long, maybe 7, 6, I think. There's like probably 5 episodes that you leave the episode going, what the fuck did I just watch? That was awesome. And yeah, now that you can watch all of them in a row.
Right.
There's an episode about the Red Wedding. I'm not going to say anything more about that. That Red Wedding episode that is one of the best episodes I've ever seen of a show. It's superb. And and my wife and I were watching it live because it released every week. And after that show, we kind of looked at each other and were like, what was that? Like like if you can sit there and actually have the water cooler conversation with your spouse about that, that's a fucking pretty goddamn good episode of a show.
Okay.
So
okay. Moon Knight will be crazy for 5 to 6. Zach's over here with spoilers.
Yeah, right. And he was done.
God damn you, Zach. That's the first episode. So yes.
Marvel's Batman kind of in the comics. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just only remarking on what I hear. And part of what I heard was from my boys. They said that it felt like Batman's Marvel. But yeah, Moon Knight is going to be crazy for episode 5 and 6, Doug, from what I hear.
And Daniel knows the comics, obviously, because he's Daniel and he knows every goddamn thing. But because I sent him a message after I watched the first episode, and I went, I just watched the first episode of Moon Knight. What the fuck was that? And he goes, man, that was great. He goes, if you want to talk about it, I know all the stuff about the comics. I'm like, actually, I don't want to know. Don't tell me, because I want to see where this goes. So yeah.
All right. Well,
it's like 2.5 hours. Holy shit.
I was going to say, thank you. I was going to say, John, I'm going to give you the final say here, and we're going to let you go. It was funny, Doug. It's always the times where I was like, man, my side here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. If we have a quick night, it'd be great. And here we are 2.5 hours later, because I knew John was going to be a fucking good a good guest, but I didn't know you were going to be this good, John. Like, maybe I almost feel like maybe your wife felt at one point, man, this guy's good. I didn't know he was going to be this good. Anyway, on that awkward ass note,
I appreciate opportunity to come on. I like to thank my family and the Academy. No,
yes, the last time you can for 10 years, motherfucker.
Right. But like this was fun. Like, it was everything that I expected to be. Like, we got into the beer stuff. We talked some serious beer stuff, and then we just talked shit, and I think it's fun, and I look forward to coming back on. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Nothing else to say. Nothing else you want to discuss. This is the time.
Yeah,
some things you want to discuss.
I want to save some for future episodes, man. We gotta.
Well, there you go.
Come back for more.
There you go. Okay.
The only thing I would ask is you would tell us about the beers you had. I know we sometimes forget about that, but what do you have?
Bitty Bitty Blonde from Norwalk Brew. Shout out to Ray Ricky Rivera at Norwalk Brew on Twitter. Usually where to find him. I follow him, so if you look at my followers, you'll see it.
We went off the rails a few times, JJ.
Monotone Citra from Tonewood Brewing in Barrington, New Jersey. And then obviously the collaboration beer we did, the
High Life
from Double Nickel Brewing. So those are 3 that I had tonight.
So you do like IPAs then?
I like some of them, like in moderation. So,
or is it in moderation, or is it that you? Or I'm sorry,
I gave a shout out to Tonewood on this because they do really nice stuff, and I wanted people to know about. There's a really, really, really good brewery in Jersey.
Okay, so So wait. So you do like them, but is it like, are you like Doug, where you don't like the crazy big ones, or you just don't like to drink them all the time?
I don't like to drink them all the time.
Okay.
You know, most of the time I'll have it like if I'm like going out drinking, like I'll have one, and the rest of it's going to be like a lager, pilsner, porter, you know, something like that, stout. You know,
Gotcha.
that's what I'll do.
So
Pale,
the amount of hoppiness doesn't matter to you?
No.
Okay.
I can
It's
do a
just
double
about the amount.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just about like the
Okay.
volume of the liquid, you know.
Gotcha.
Like, I
Okay.
can't do a lot of volume on the IPAs anymore.
Right. So
Yeah.
so you're not like Doug, who had a Coors Light and it blew out his taste buds.
No,
By the way, I would like to say that I don't drink Coors Light, but you know who does? Our guy Andrew in Gavan. He loves that shit. He drinks Coors Light like it's going out of style. He might actually add that on our show.
I just don't.
yeah.
Hey, and as we say, drink what you like. Really believe that.
All right, John. Well, we'll see you. What is it? The spring. We'll see you in the fall.
Yes.
We'll get you back here, and we'll have some more fun, and you'll have some
hopefully
more.
Like you guys get to New York, you hit me up, and we can hang out. That'll be fun.
Yeah. You're going to know about New York. We're going to be screaming and hollering about it. So
Cool.
no worries. You will not be out of it. Even if Daniel Fisher knows, so he's like co-organizer with me, so he's gonna know. We're gonna know to get you in.
We gotta do like a Twitter Spaces, like live from New York or something like that, right?
We're gonna do something.
We'll figure something out.
I just need to get up in New York in that beer scene. I don't know how it is now before the pandemic or after the pandemic. Before it was something, it was growing and it was crazy. And so I just want to be a part of it. I also want to spend time with my friend Daniel Fisher, as a person I love and admire, and he's great. And check out his podcast, Watch Okay Please, y'all. It's fun. It's starting to be a binge one, Daniel, especially with these new shows. And sometimes mostly Doug is good with the shows, John. Don't get me wrong. When Doug recommends a show, I generally jump on it. So Doug told me about Mayor of Easttown, which I don't know if you saw that one. Check that one out. Okay, you saw that one.
It's all I haven't like queued it up yet, but like everybody's like, oh, I gotta watch this because if you've been in the Philly area, like you'll get all the references.
Yes.
So,
and
it's on the list.
And also Kate Winslet does a fucking killer.
Oh yeah, she does a thing in that.
Killer in that. I knew she was good shit before that, but in that she's amazing actually.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, check it out. And so John, thank you. We will be hanging out, I think, a little bit in post-production, even though it's like all late. But if you like to join us, that'd be great. If not, we'll talk to you definitely in the fall, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on and entertaining us and making the show better than what it is. Thanks, John.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Peace.
So Weyerbacher, man.
Listen, we don't normally go more than 2 hours on shows, and that just felt like it was an hour. I mean, we say that sometimes with some guests. That was awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes you can tell when people are fun, but sometimes it doesn't translate over to this. And sometimes people are, we've been doing this forever, so we don't have those jitterbugs anymore. But sometimes it's, kind of weird getting in front of the camera like this, especially with weirdos like Zach and Dan and JG commenting. Sometimes y'all can be intimidating, So what wasn't intimidating, Doug, was the beers that I had tonight, which was close enough to perfect, which is really close enough to perfect for a West Coast IPA, and this wonderful New Zealand style Pilsner. Oh, and there's one thing I wanted to talk to John about is this. Have you seen this whole crispy thing where people are describing beers as crispy and then people are offended by that?
And crispy boys, things like that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Now, again, I get crisp, but I'm not sure about crispy. Isn't crispy like Rice Krispie treats and shit like that?
Or like overdone toast or something like that. That's crispy.
Right. So, Doug, next week we will have a big announcement. The guest is my friend Beth. She's Lipsticks and Lager on Twitter. Yeah, y'all ever have a crispy boy?
Uh-huh. That's what they call it. They spell it like that, like Skater Boy, which I think is kind of weird, but yeah.
What is a crispy boy?
That's what they call, like, I've seen it, like, the guy who's one of the brewers at Revolution Brewing always does these videos. His name's Beer Aficionado on Instagram, and he talks about the crispy boys and like the kind of fascination with it. It's like pilsners and shit like that. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. They're crisp, but I'm not. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, next week we'll have a big announcement with my friend Beth, and she's Lipstick and Lager on Twitter. You can check her out.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, I don't have a promo for her because I've been crazy. So, Doug, we will see you. Did you do? Oh, you didn't do yours. What am I doing here?
Really quick, dude. And we've been on for a
No
long
worries.
time. Okay.
So, not the rush.
I had this with a cellared black wheat wine. Ended up taking more like a barley wine because all the flavors fell off. The hazelnut still stayed a bit, but still the fresh was fucking far better. I hope they make more of this because I'd love to buy more of it. That is a New York State brewery, Weyerbacher. So they make a lot of classic styles, but they go into weird venues on this stuff too. So it's been pretty interesting. I had a key lime pie nitro, which was a key lime sour ale with lactose, lime, and vanilla. Tasted more like an apple pie with lime. Didn't taste like a key lime pie at all. Decent, not great. This one I liked, but it aged. It didn't age well. The best thing I had was this. It was the Super Scooped, which is a chocolate peanut butter cup imperial milk stout. Really good, really smooth. The chocolate and the peanut butter are all there. The peanut butter is more prevalent in the nose, but the chocolate's more prevalent in the flavor palette. And the peanut butter is there too, but really good by Beer Tree Brewing, which is a local brewery to me and here in upstate New York. So back to you, Greg.
Back to you, Doug. Cheers. Doug, review your Steel Reserve.
I don't have Steel Reserve. Is that a new look like in Zoolander? Like
It's a it's a horrible fucking beer. Where the hell is Zach gonna be on?
Oh, we have him coming up. I just don't remember exactly.
No, I know. I wanna it's
in May sometime. It's in May sometime.
Oh yeah, May 13th. Right.
Right. That show is gonna be a fucking awesome disaster. That's the only way I can describe that.
Manny, if you're watching, we're coming for you soon too, bud.
Yes, we are.
So, yeah, we are. But I got one person I'm waiting on. I'm still waiting on this person. Damn it. And then, like, once this person, because I won't say male or female, and I won't say anything else, but once this person commits to a date, then a bunch of dates are going to fall in. It's usually what happens. So, yeah, see, 415 was his birthday, and he wasn't giving you fucking vampires. Why not? He has is his day like special, dog? Like he can't do anything.
I think it's more he wanted to spend it with his wife, which hey, that's legit.
Oh, isn't that? But will he slap a motherfucker for his wife? But we will. I'm not even gonna wait for the answer.
Maybe let's end this before he comments.
Right, that and we can get into all that when he jumps on. But all right, Doug. I'll see you next week, y'all. Thank you for being here for what 2, 3, 4 fucking hours, y'all. The shit. Thank you, Daniel Fisher, JHG, Zach for commenting. Zach commenting.
Thank you for
he
being
already
on
said
here.
Not at all. He's not gonna slap a motherfucker. Right. She's on her own. Right. But I don't know. I don't know Zach's wife, but I bet you she would slap a motherfucker. So thanks, Daniel. Always again, check out Watch Okay Please. It's fun. It's a good time. Yeah. And I gotta do what did you say, Doug?
I was gonna say also check out our guy who was on the show, John, tonight, and follow him. It's a good follow.
Yes, and Doug, do you have any dad parental and any releases on your podcast recently?
No, not yet. We're still working on a schedule, so not at this time.
You've had a couple recent ones though, right? Drop
a couple recent ones, but
okay.
Life's kind of gotten in the way of some of the things, which is the way that we kind of do things on that podcast. That's okay.
Well, it's called Dad. It's all about being
it's parental advisory, yeah.
Right, and it's all about being a dad and shit. So of course, fucking life comes in front of it. So
yep.
Cheers,
folks. Take care.